And we're live. 3 minutes till the live stream starts. Water. So hopefully it'll dry off in a couple minutes, but it feels nice. It feels nice and cool. It's been warm out. It's summertime. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. We are here right on time. Yeah, right on time. 11 o'clock sharp my time. Who's all here today? Let's see. We've got Nice's in the house. PF's here. That guy Makes. Del Mar's here. Gundam. Queasy. Apollo, how's it going? Mr. Melted. Steve's here. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a good week. I got a lot of stuff done. I am currently halfway through editing the video on Python, so that's what will be coming out this Saturday. And then, so before we'll do a little bit of rant and then we'll get into stuff. So when it comes to videos on the main channel, I have a pretty good system how I organize everything, and I often would plan out like, here's like the next couple weeks plans of videos. Well, I stopped doing that because I had so many projects going on. It was just like, okay, what do I feel like working on? Ah, that's a good thing. Well, it finally got to the point where I'm like, no, there's too many things I'm juggling. I need to sit down and like actually put together a list of projects I'm interested on, videos I have planned, the reviews I need to do. And so I sat down a couple nights ago on the couch and just started making the list. And I have, if nothing else comes out, like no new reviews of anything, just with the projects I'm working on, I have every Saturday's video planned through the beginning of December, which is wild. So it's been busy, but having a list is nice because it lets me see sort of like what I'm currently working on, what's next, and there's none of that like, okay, I'm done with this, like, oh crap, what am I doing now? So it's been drill and heat gun in the background. You got to have a drill and heat gun. I'll probably grab the hammer at some point. We've used the hammer last week and that worked out. So it's been assault any llamas with foam lately? Oh, no. My brother and sister-in-law are visiting though. They've been staying at my parents' house for the last couple weeks. And I have been wanting to show my brother that Nerf blaster, or the blaster, and I haven't got a chance yet. It's been so freaking hot, but finally this week, we're like in the 80s, and I think we even have 2 days in the 70s. So I think they're supposed to come over Saturday, maybe for a barbecue, and if they do, I will pull out the blaster so he can check it out. He's gonna love it. Hey Clown, hey Emmanuel. Let's see. Hey Daniel. Hey, I don't know how to say that. Is it beads? 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 Is it just beads or beads? Hey Reverend. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. So it's been really busy. I just finished installing a triple dash cam, made it just in time. Nice. I'm super excited. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but yesterday, I finally swapped out one of the switches. So I'm swapping out I've got 2 switches in the house that are like light and dimmer, but I'm swapping them out for Casa smart light and dimmers and installing ceiling fans in pre-wire. And so I finally yesterday swapped out one of them, and I gotta say, it's my first time. Like, we've always rented, so I haven't really been able to do any electrical work in a house that we've ever lived in or apartment or anything like that. And so we talked about it a few weeks ago, and it went pretty well. I don't know if it's downstairs still, so I got a non-contact tester, which is awesome. Something I probably should have purchased a long time ago, but I just never really needed it. So yeah, killed the power, used the non-contact tester. The only issue I ran into were when they built the house, clearly the electrical had already been ran, you know, when the sheetrock or drywall was up. And so when they painted everything, paint got over the wires sleeving, not like, you know, not the actual copper, but the wire sleeving. And so it was kind of difficult to see what colors were what for the wires. And also the switch had 2 black wires. I had my line in, but then another line that was going to the fan motor, and then a red line that was going to the light. So it was, getting the colors down was a little bit nerve-wracking because I wanted to make sure I didn't screw that up. And then the other thing that was actually really interesting to me was just how tight it was inside of the, I think the gang box. Is it called gang box, or is it called, I know it's a dual gang setup. I don't know if you call the box a gang box or if it's just called a, what's the other word for it? I'm not thinking of. 110 volts, touch one wire at a time. Yeah, so I was very careful. But yeah, the hardest part was just once I got all the wire nuts on, because I did stick with wire nuts, and I did actually pull a permit. We talked about this, and because of homeowners insurance and all that, and what the city showed, I had to pull a permit for the inspector to check basically 2 switches and the ceiling fans. It was $32, which seems like it is worth it to me just to have the peace of mind. But the most difficult part was actually fitting everything back in the receptacle. I think that's the word, receptacle. Pronounced like beads. Okay, I got it. Those electrical boxes. Yeah, it was so tight. There was maybe like 4 or 5 neutral wires already twisted in a huge wire nut. And yeah, just fitting everything in was really awkward. And so that was my only concern. Like I had to basically use the back of the switch, the dimmer switch I installed, to sort of like force the stuff back into the receptacle. And of course I started second guessing myself, and I started looking online like to get pictures of other receptacle boxes, and I saw some that were way more full of crap than mine. But like when you don't have anything to compare it to, it seems weird, right? Like I thought I'd have like all of this space in there, but that just was not the case. So wrap it with electrical. I didn't wrap it with electrical tape. I did see people mention that, but I did make sure like both wires were, you know, as close as I could get them to in line with each other, because most of them were just 2 wires, right? Except for the neutrals that I had to tap into. But I made sure they bottomed out in the wire nut. I twisted it nice and tight until the actual wires did like a single wrap around themselves to let me know that they were tight. So it's working. I connected it to the network. So hopefully, hopefully the second one's in a 4 gang box. And so I'm really curious to see what the heck the space is like inside that one. But what do you think? What do you do with empty rolls? I have like 100. So yeah, that's been another project I've been working on, which has been fun. I was really proud. It's something simple, but I was really proud of it because I hadn't done it before. So, all right. Hey, Lisa. Always do a pull test after. Yeah, I probably should have done a pull test after. I'm confident that they're in there nice and tight because of the fact that the wire's twisted. But I will, at least on the next one, do a pull test on all of them to make sure. I watched a couple other videos on people installing stuff and saw how, not that this is a good example, and I know YouTube has all sorts of info and a lot of it is good and a lot of it's not so good, but I watched a few videos after people doing similar installs and saw them, and I was like, okay, I was definitely more careful than some of these people, and they seem fine. So I think I'm just overthinking it like I do with everything, you know. Did it all work out? Yes. So the switch, all I've done so far is the switch. The ceiling fans are being delivered today at Lowe's, so after this I'll run over there. I had to purchase a ladder. I don't own a ladder since we've never had a house before, so I had to get a ladder because the dining room is like a angled roof that's, I don't know how many feet, maybe 10 foot, 11 foot. So I had to get something, you know, a ladder to get up there. So yeah, water, yeah, look at that. The water's drying up. Oh, no. It's all about the angle. You can still see it. So, Apollo, thanks for becoming a member, man. Cheers. So that's what's going on here. I hope everyone's having a wonderful week. I know, so I was thinking about using Wagos. I talked to Steve. Steve's got a lot more experience than me with electrical stuff, and so I was like, Steve. And he said that if you have space, use Wagos. But I just don't know. When the inspector comes out, I'm going to ask him what his thoughts are on Wagos and make sure that there's no issues. I read online that like in some places it could be an issue with code. And I know, like, I did see some people that said, like, if you use Wagos in a receptacle box, because it's so tight, there's a chance that one of the little latches will hook on something, and so to wrap it with electrical tape. So I did wire nuts because that seems to be the standard still. It's what was already in there, and it's what came with the dimmer, which I'm sure it's just because of cost they use those instead of Wagos. But I'll ask, and as long as he's like, yeah, in our county or in our city, you're totally welcome to use those. And moving forward on anything I do, because I do plan on at some point adding, I'm going to try to add a dedicated circuit, 1 or 2 additional ones. And so when I do that, I will very likely use Wagos for the new outlets I install. Make sure you have enough space above the fan for it to pull air efficiently. Yeah, so one of them, it comes default with a 4-inch down rod. And then the other one that's in the dining room, I already did the research on like how high you want it above like the place you're gonna be at and how far from the ceiling to get like for it to work correctly. And so because I think we're at like a 20 or 25 degree slope, I have I bought a 1 foot down rod for the other one, so I should be good. I don't do anything half-assed typically other than on stream because it's like in the moment. I have been looking at fan stuff for weeks. My YouTube search history and Google search history is wild right now with just random stuff. So hey Sven, hey Jesus, hey WT. They have wire nuts that you push the wire into, no release. You do not want to use Wegos for anything other than low voltage. I've seen, it's such a debate. If you go, I spent a lot of time on like electrical forums lately, and you've got like one audience that is diehard Wegos, and I think that Wegos are a lot more common in, I don't think I've ever seen them used in the house. I have lived in the UK. Okay. Yeah, I do know that it seems like a lot of people outside the United States use them almost exclusively, a lot more than inside the United States. So I don't know. Hey, Matt. I had to do the 12-inch down rod for the large fan on a flat ceiling. Huh. I can't use it. The one that's going in our bedroom, it's a pretty low ceiling. I don't think I could use any more than that 4-inch down rod. It would put the fan like too close to where we're going to be at. So Wegos are rated up to 450 volts. Yeah, I mean, we use Wegos all the time with 3D printing for AC, so I know that they can't. Most service calls they do for home repairs are fixing people's joints, replacing Wegos with regular wire nuts. Interesting. The other debate, okay, last thing I swear, and then we're gonna get into the MMU. The last great debate that I found, other than Wegos versus wire nuts, was to pre-twist or not to pre-twist. And I did not pre-twist, and everything I've seen basically, not everything, most everything I've seen now says you do not need to pre-twist. It seems to me that maybe wire nuts have changed over the last 10 or 20 years, but from everything I saw, if you insert them into the base correctly and you twist them, that wire nut makes a proper contact. Like it twists those wires nice and tight so you don't actually have to pre-twist them. I was a bit nervous about that because I was like, did I screw up? But I did some heavy digging and have seen lots of people that, you know, claim to be electricians for 10, 20, 30 years. They're like, maybe not 30 years, it's an exaggeration, but 10 plus years. They're like, no, you absolutely do not need to twist them. So that was the other great debate. Wegos are the standard for house installations here in Germany and most of Europe. That's what I saw online too, was that they're in Europe, a lot of people use them, a lot more than in the United States. I'm in machine maintenance at a factory and we use Wegos on 3-phase motors all the time, but usually just because it's easier for replacement. Yeah, the other thing I saw was like, as far as space, they're smaller because they can pack flat versus some of those wire nuts, especially the ones that were on like the bunch of neutral, line, and ground that were bundled in the box. Like those were some huge wire nuts. So, hey Thomas. All right, enough talk about nuts and electricity. Let's take a look at where we're at. I want to bring you all up to speed. Anyone that wasn't here last week, anyone that was, I've got just a little bit of updates on things. So let's take a look. Also, apologies in advance. Allergies are trying to kill me. I don't understand. My nose is disgusting. I don't understand what's happening, but my allergies, even with taking allergy pills, doesn't seem to be doing anything. So we are building the MMU3. All parts were printed in PolyMaker Neon Green ABS based off of a vote that we did 2 weeks ago. They have all been printed with a scaling factor in X and Y of 100.5%, and so far that has worked beautifully, with the exception of one part. So we wrapped up last week the idler selector assembly, which is this beaut. So this is all ready to rock and roll. It went smoothly. We did have to pull out the hammer for like 2 things, but that was probably more a me thing than actually necessary. But yeah, that turned out really nicely. We then moved on to the selector assembly, which is this guy. And all that went well. The only thing I had a little concern of is that the blades didn't perfectly align with each other. I took it apart like twice on stream, and that's as close as I got it. But a few people that have built these already said that this is going to cut through the filament if it somehow jams and can't work. So I'm fairly confident that that's going to be fine. So we did that. And then the issue we ran into was with this guy. Hey Ted, Hey Luke. Let's see. YouTube is being strange. It asking me to become a member of a channel, but I am. Huh. Yeah, I see your badge showing that you're a member. I don't know. That's weird. So the issue we ran into with this guy was that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PTFE tubes, little short guys that go into this piece, and then this piece that I installed already sort of sandwiches them in there. And they went nicely into the main body, but when I tried to shove them in here, it was way too tight of a fit. And in the process of me trying to remove them, it damaged those PTFE tubes. And so what I ended up doing was I reamed out the slots on this with a 4mm reamer, and that gave me the clearance I needed. But I did have to recut all of these PTFE tubes. They are a slightly larger inner diameter than the ones that were sent, I think by 0.2 millimeter. So hopefully it's not an issue. The other thing is that they are supposed to be 19 millimeters, and I ended up, this is Steve's jig that I downloaded from his GitHub repository. Come on. We're really not going to focus? Why are we focusing on the... What the heck's going on? Is it an autofocus? I don't know what's happening. What the heck is it? Maybe I'm just too close. Okay. All right, camera. I guess we're gonna be stubborn today. There we go. So this basically clamps down on the PTFE tube, and then you can probably see it. Let me go closer in the light. Okay, I don't know, but there's lines right here is it every 5 millimeters? 5, 10? Yeah, no, every 2.5 millimeters. And so I cut them down. I took it to the 20 millimeter line and then cut on like the closer side of that. And so I got all of them cut down, but they are not quite, they are a little bit over 19 millimeters. Like I think I got them down to roughly 19.5. It seems like that's gonna be fine, but time will tell. Worst comes to worst, I can always cut more, but that's where we're at. And then I also, I just ended up using this guy because one of the sides of the PTFE tubes included has a bit of a chamfer to help the filament easily guide in. So I just took this V-bit that I had and just twisted it maybe 4 or 5 times in each to create that little channel. So that's all I've done, which is pretty much where we left off last week. Hey Yuri. There's also a new smaller version without levers made specifically for house installations. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've only ever used it with 3D printing stuff, so. All right, so where are we then? We are continuing on. We did this, I think that's what I used the hammer for actually, was these bearings to get them in. We did this and I just finished installing this. So we are here. Hey, Trevor. Okay, so this, is this the piece we're looking for? I see an arrow on one side. Yep, this looks right. Okay, so we'll get all the parts out that we need for this next section. Like that. How's everybody's week going? All right, so, oh yeah, let's also take out our Steve tray. A little organizer. This was really helpful last time. And we need 2 M310 screws, which I've already got poured out. We need some standard nuts. Got a bunch of color. Looks like this. We need this stuff in here. Hey Viking. Slow week. Slow week's not bad. Mr. Melted had the opposite. Lots of work. That guy makes it's going for sure. Uh-oh. Okay, so we need 5 of these little cullets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Anybody working on any cool printer builds or projects or upgrades or anything like that? And the last thing we need, yeah, just the regular nuts. Where did I put? I threw everything into, you know, I think they're all in here. I think this is where I put all the hardware. Yes. Regular nuts, regular nuts. Here's my regular nuts. I'm printing out, oh, nice, okay, cool. Ender 3 NG, yeah, if anyone didn't see, like, it's out of beta now. There's the official release. They don't have, as far as I'm aware, there's not a assembly manual. So currently, if you're gonna be building it, you're gonna be using CAD basically. But the plan is I'm going to be building one. I am going to wait though until there's a manual, because I think that once there's a manual, it'll be a lot more accessible for people that want to build it. Okay, take the collet holder, note the correct part orientation marked by the print. So with the arrow pointing towards this way, insert the collets into the marked openings. For the sake of easier installation, you might need to squish the fins of the collet with your fingers when you insert them. Okay, let's see if we need to do that. Oh, yeah, we do. One of the collets didn't make it into its home. Let's see. I was like, that was an easy fit, but it's a little too easy. There we go. Gosh. Oh, there's 4 fins on them. I, for some reason, was only looking at 3. Okay. Are they in there nice and tight, though? Feels like it's going to come out, but maybe it's not. Maybe I'm tripping. Let's see. No, they're in there. Okay. Oh man, there was a lot of cool stuff that's going on. Okay, let me get these 5 in so I can feel like I've done something, and then I'm gonna get caught up on chat because unfortunately this is not something that I seem to be able to do without having like full focus on getting all those fins lined up. Oh, there we go, and come on, buddy. Always the last of everything gets me. There we go. Okay, we got those in. All right, so what's everyone doing? We have got, holy cow, everyone's doing cool stuff. Starting my very first Boron 2.4 build. That is super exciting. Did you go with a kit or did you end up self-sourcing? I turned on my printer for the first time in 6 months. Feels like an upgrade to me. Nice. Which printer? Is it the one that, gosh, the one you showed me that's, I think it was a bed slinger, and you set up the clack ender on it. Earth prep for next month. Nice. It's been a fun week for me. I got myself an Ender 3v3 and put it to work on printing all the parts for my Ender wire. How are you liking it so far? I really like the Ender 3v3. I just did a video on installing the Flowtech hot end on it. So I'm rocking a 0.8 Diamondback nozzle on the Ender 3v3 Plus, and then I just installed off video another Flowtech into the Ender 3v3, but that one right now I'm just rocking the standard 0.4 plated brass that came with it. Finally tuning my Ender wire, and next will be, what is a bastion? It sounds like I've heard it, but I don't know what that is. Buying back a car from a guy that I sold it to about 8 years ago. Holy cow, what kind of car? Finishing my printed parts to LDO Brook kit. I should be able to start assembling tomorrow. That's exciting. Working on mounting the 2 trees SP5 upgrades I designed. That's also exciting. How's the progress going on the Fenderware? Is that how you pronounce it? Ender 3 to switch wire with Cyborg kit. Currently doing the electronics hookup. Nice. Nice, Frosty. Rebuilding my V0 to V0.2. Keep getting asked to build an Ender 3NG. Currently building a box turtle. What the heck's a box turtle? My KP5L is getting new hot ends. So is the SVO1. My Neptune 4 Max needs a shelf, and I got some orders for cupcake toppers, and I'm out of space. Man, you got a lot going on. Playing with a Pi 5 OS and SSD for my new build in the moment. Super cool. I've been looking into Home Assistant lately. I haven't ever dabbled with it, but now that I'm installing these switches, and we've got, why are the dogs barking? And a few other things, I'm looking into it. Working on the Ender 3NG CAD to make it fit a CR10. That's exciting. I also had to build mini chopper droid. How big is the mini chopper droid? Mostly just sizing up. Oh my god, I am missing, geez, I'm trying to get caught up here. I'm printing stealth printer parts for the switch bar. Nice. The end roll of Galaxy Orange got stuck. Oh no! A little bit of gray with a single color stealth printer. I'm sure it'll still look really cool. Hey, Zombie! Hey, Fabrico! This one time at Bandcamp, how's it going? Trying to get my ERCFE2 to be a dependable addition. So far, about 80%. 80% sounds like a really good progress has been made. I mean, granted, I would want more than that, but still, like, it sounds like you're making good progress. Finished my gantry on 2.4, was planning to install the other toolhead and Nighthawk 36. Then the recall happened. Yeah, I have a 36 as well that I will not be using now. Tom, design and building my own. Ooh, that's exciting. Building a Fi-Stick 2.4, very cool. Currently doing the gantry. I haven't looked at mini stealth burner. I'm trying to get a CR10 Smart Pro working for a friend, trying to figure out linear advance. Ah, good old Marlin. Fabrico, thank you for 12 months. Cheers. How does one not love Nanner Sandwich? I don't know, man. Different strokes for different folks. Bastion was renamed from the Rook. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Hey, Ella. Designing a Prusa Core XY. Nice. Have you looked at the Prusa XY? It's a 97 Mitsubishi Eclipse with a 4G63 turboed 4-cylinder. Ooh, fun. Loving the V3, and I like how it came with an alternative spool mount for the side. Shame it wasn't sliced in ABS. Wait, they're shipping a secondary mount with it now? I'm designing an RF lens cap that holds an old disposable camera lens. Very cool. I fired up my VZBot. The project was a Chiron. Okay, that's what it was, with a stealth burner and clack ender. It's basically finished and just needs tuning. That's what it was. Think open source AMS. Oh, that's what. Okay. That's how I know of it. I've seen some of the like teasers of it. Dan's 3D printing. Thank you for 6 months, man. Hadouken, Box Turtle. Yep. I didn't remember the name, but I definitely have seen it. School's about to start. Aaron says a big box arrived. Huh. You know what it could be? It could be a printer. Flashforge sent out their a request of the non-pro version of the Core XY, which I think is the one that Zombie has. So we will be unboxing that at some point. Home Assistant's great. Getting the SP5 up and running. Designing a few things to help me organize office. Control chaos. I get that. I have all the printers sending data to it. I can turn them on and off. Oh, that's sick. A smart outlet instead of having extra power. That's very... Rico, thank you for 5 memberships. I am so behind. I am so behind. Thank you for the gift of memberships. I have been working with them. Oh, very cool. Printing Mark IV ASA parts, organizing screws. Have you done a video on the Big Tree Tech Pi 2? I have not. I have one. I haven't done anything with it. I don't remember. I got it at the same time I got the CM2, and I don't remember if I kind of like side featured it in there. I don't think I did. I don't think I ever covered it. Mark II version. I only have... Oh, you have the Pro. Okay, gotcha. So I have the non-Pro version. They asked me which one I wanted, and I was interested because it's $299. I was like, okay, that seems like there's a lot less competition in that market versus like the $500 one. So we'll see how it is in a few weeks' time. Okay, that was awesome. Everyone is doing a lot of freaking cool stuff. All right, so we've got. Now we are going to be installing this onto here. So it looks like this guy is just going. So we need to press the nuts into here. Man, everyone's doing really cool freaking stuff. So we'll try this again. Let's see, 100.5 is what I used. Yeah, yep, Mr. Melted, 100.5 is what I used for all these parts. And when I reprint out the Prusa Mark IV stuff, hold on. Dear God, that's a tight fit. Yeah, when I print out, ow, that is a very tight push. When I reprint out the parts for the Mark IV, when we do the Mark IV's upgrade and I rebuild it, I'm going to be using the same scale factor. Rob, thanks for becoming a member. You are a member. Thanks for becoming a member again. Are you getting the Mark? I am going to get it, but it'll be a bit because of the sort of lineup of builds we've already got planned. It's this, then it's the LDO Positron, and then we're jumping into the Doron Velta. It'll be some months. And then me and Steve have been talking about doing another, I won't say a whole lot until we've got more, but me and Steve have been talking about doing another collab stream after that. So I will be getting it. Come on, baby. This might be a good time to use that little hammer to tap these in versus using the old hands. You know what? Let's get our Allen keys out. I think it'll be easier to push this in. All right. Stayed up for Steve's streams last night at 1 a.m. Holy cow! How did it go? I wasn't able to catch any of it. I was pretty busy yesterday. I was working on some late night light burn stuff that I had to get done, and then I also was editing the Python video, which there's a lot of footage. There's a lot of footage. Okay, so we did that. Insert 2 nuts. Attach the cult holding the pulley. Note the direction. Okay, so we want the arrow pointing. So there's an arrow on here. We want it pointing towards the unit, like internal. So, wait a minute. What? Oh my God. Oh, look what I did. You know why it was difficult to get those nuts in there? They're not supposed to go in there. They're supposed to go in the bottom of this freaking unit. Lovely. Lovely. All right. Let me try to pull these out now. So it's kind of, this is what threw me. In my defense, if you look at these pockets, don't those look like nut traps? Those look like nut traps to me. Nut traps to me. So in my defense, I was going based off what I saw, and it looked like that's where they went. Doran looks like a cool build. Yeah, I'm pretty dang excited. Zombie's definitely the first person that I ever saw kind of like showcase it, and I love deltas. And granted, we have the S1 and we have the T1 showed up that we need to do an unboxing for, but the having one that's smaller that can be up here, that's more hacky, seems awesome. Okay, so that's a proper nut pocket. So let's slide these in. They don't feel like very tight nut. Yeah, they don't feel like very tight nut pockets. I almost wonder if I'm gonna have to install this at an angle so they don't fall out. Also, the Doron is huge. Oh, okay. Hey, TJ. It's FISEC reached out. Yeah, FISEC contacted me. I actually need to respond to them because I told them it would be like at least a month until I can actually start building it. And then they were like, can you just do an unboxing video like this week? I'm like, no, I don't do, I do my absolute best to, this is not. Okay, so it does kind of stay. All right, we might be okay. XR, thank you for 12 months too. If you want to look at the Prusa XY MMU3, let us know. Oh, you guys have a kit for it, huh? But I imagine it requires, you do have to have the Prusa to disassemble, which I don't have. The one thing I still really want to build XR is the K2. I talked to Fabrico quite a long time ago about that, and we were supposed to do that sometime in July, and then things just happened. So I would definitely like to build one of those. Okay, so my concern is that it's going to push these nuts when I try to feed this in. I probably should have reamed out these holes a little bit. Let's try it. I'm not totally convinced that this is going to work the way I think it's going to. I have a feeling this is going to pop out, but let me see. Let's try this at an angle. So if I go, let's do just like Sony view like this. So I'm gonna attempt to install it at an angle so that way I've got gravity on my side. Let's see if this works. I don't feel like I'm catching anything. Yeah, I'm not catching it. Or am I catching? Zero, you can scrounge up one. Yeah. Yeah, it's not catching. Okay. So these are supposed to be M3. Great, I pulled the cullet out. So what I'm wondering is if these nuts can get pushed in further. So let's see if I grab an Allen key. No, that feels like it's in as far as it can go. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there's kind of awkward. All right, I'm gonna focus for a sec here, everybody. Let's see if I just shove. I'm gonna try to pop this out actually now, because it seems like there's an angle in the very end that it needs to get pressed into. There we go. I have a Delta kit that has a 280 diameter bed and 600 mm Z that is a modding. Oh, nice. Plus hardware and software should be fun. That sounds awesome. Hey, Dutch. I haven't received the parcel yet. I was actually just thinking about that. If you happen to have the tracking, let me know. So I think that was the issue, is that you have to install this at an angle. Yeah, that seems better. Let me see if I press it now with this. Can I get it to bottom out in here? Okay, that feels better. Still gonna try. Somebody remind me in a second, I gotta pop the collet back in, but let's see if this works. So we'll go kind of an upside down angle. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, that did catch. That one caught, so let's see if we can get the other one in. What happened to my screw? That's okay, we'll grab another one. Says delivered already in DMs. Okay, it would probably, most things that come international that are like smaller parcels usually come via our local post, USPS. So if it says delivered, it's very likely. One second. Cool, that worked. Okay, so the key thing is just making sure. One second here. That you've got it at the right angle. There's a pretty steep angle. It needs to be in there, the nut. 20th of August delivered. Okay, so yesterday. Yeah, that means it's in the mailbox then. So I will check after the stream. Okay, so that should be good. Let's install that collet back in. But yeah, I was just actually thinking about that because I hadn't received it. Okay, cool. Easy enough, kind of. Okay, cool. Now we need the final motor. Looks, yeah, one of the collets bounced out when I was trying to get that nut back out. I got it though. Okay, so we need our motor that has the huge shaft. That sounds weird. Because you can't talk about motors without it sounding a little bit odd. Now we need 5 of these pulleys. Looks like one of them had a set screw jump out of it, so let's see. Let's not lose that. Set screws here, set screws there. Set screws there. Set screw is, okay, so yeah, this is the one missing the screw. Hey man, I don't, call it like I see it. Okay, so we've got that. And then we also need more M310s, which we've got right here. 1, 2, and 3. And then lastly, we need a single square nut. Gotta go before I use too much data. Yeah, sounds great. I will check the mailbox later this evening and try to shoot you a message to confirm that I've received the parcel. Some consider the V2 to be harder to build, but in reality, they aren't too much different. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that is kind of a bit more complicated is the bed, since you've got the flying gantry with the 4 belts versus just the 3 and the lead screws. I do think, I mean, I've built both, and I do think that the Trident is an easier build, but not significantly easier. All right, gonna quickly mute my mic so I can blow my nose, because I am kind of gross. Okay, so it wants the motor to be, let's match this, so the cable should be sticking out this way. We want the flat portion of the motor shaft facing directly upwards, which I've got. So here is our motor. There we go. I think that's pretty straight, somewhere like that. Yep, it's pretty much reaching towards the sky. Rotate the motor, slide the first pulley under the shaft, ensure the lock screw is on top. Tighten the grub screw just slightly. Okay, so we want the teeth facing inward. And let's see, so teeth are facing inward. So right now the set screw is too tight. I can't actually get it onto the motor shaft. So we are just going to loosen it a hair. Slide it on. Oh, there we go. So it's slid on now. Tighten it a hair. So we can still slide it up and down as needed, so we can position it, but it can't twist anymore because I have it at least partially tightened onto there. Don't tighten the grub screw yet. Ensure the grooved part of the pulley is on the motor side. Yep. Okay, so we're just gonna rinse and repeat that process for the other 4. Same orientation, teeth should all be facing towards the motor. Like so. Okay. Like that. That's still fine. Okay, so we've got all of them. Let me actually tighten down this guy just a hair. That was too much. Okay, so all of these are on. We've got teeth facing towards the inside. They can still all slide up and down so we can position them, but if we try to twist any of them, they cannot twist off that flat part of the shaft, which is what we want, because we want to ensure that the set screw tightens down onto that, so that way the teeth get a good bite and it hopefully will not slip on us in the future. Hey, Benny! Happy Wednesday. Have you looked at the extruder from Bondtech? Looks a simpler way to print 2 materials. Extruder from Bondtech, a simpler way to print 2 materials. Is this something new, GPs? I did see that they launched a few new items, but I haven't seen any dual extruder set up yet. I've gone to fiber internet and I never want to go back 1 gig up and down. So I am stoked. I just got when we moved into this house, I wanted fiber and it wasn't an option. And so we've been on cable, which it's their fastest speed, which is supposed to be 1 gig down, but up is brutal. Like, I think I just checked and I was only getting actually like 600 down and like 20 up. And so I just got a letter in the mail saying that TDS fiber is available and I can get symmetrical 1 gig for $80 a month. And And so I am going to absolutely be swapping. I actually tried setting up an appointment, but their website is garbage. It kept saying internal server error, which isn't very reassuring, but I did do some research and everyone seems really happy with them. So I just need to either need to check their website again, see if it's back working correctly, or just call and set up the appointment. But I'm super freaking excited to have fiber. Hey Maurice, don't strip the head to the grub screw. Yeah, that's also another thing. You want to make sure you hand tighten these. Don't throw your elbow into it because they are small screws. This is just a 1.5 millimeter Allen key. So even though this is the Wera ones that have a sort of unique geometry on them that helps give you a little extra leverage, you still want to be very careful with these ones. I'm on TDS. It's been rocks. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I've heard good things. I did do a search to see what people were saying, and it did seem like people were happy with the service. So, okay, so our square nut is going in on this side. Okay, so it looks like it is here. Oh, you know what? That's right. We had some issues with square nuts too, where I was using a flathead to clear them. Yeah, sorry about the sniffling, everyone. I don't know how loud it's coming over the mic, but there's not much I can do. Like, I took a nice hot shower to try to clear my sinuses. I took allergy medicine. I'm just like, dude, I don't know what the heck. My face just does not like me. Oh, you know what? This is what we're using the hammer for, wasn't it? We were using the hammer to sort of... I'm going to get my my Bob the Builder hammer back out. It's not needed. I will say it is not really needed, but I've got it, and it worked really well, and it's so small that it's like a lowercase hammer. It's hammer in all lower caps. Yeah, just a little... Let's tap it in. And then we will use this flathead to slide it the rest of the way, and it's perfectly aligned. So, all right, next up it says orient the motor shaft so that all of the grub screws on the pulley are facing up. Okay, so we basically just want to turn this whole thing like this and then drop this down and then shove this in here. And it looks like it's going to go into that bearing. Why are we struggling to go into the bearing? Why are we struggling to go into the bearing? I don't like that. Why? Insert the motor in the pulley body. Make sure the motor shaft is engaged in the bearing at the end of the groove. It has, but it's super tight and I can't... Oh, there we go. Okay, it is just a tight fit. And I imagine once we clamp this down, it'll go the rest of the way. But yeah, that was tighter than I was expecting. Okay, we did that. Motor shaft. Attach the motor with 3 M310 screw with an M1 on the top. Just start the thread. So okay. So now we're gonna spin this around like this and drop you guys down a little bit. In doubt, give it, yeah, just a little love tap. That's all, nothing too crazy. Hey RS. Don't know if it's new, but it just seems an easy way to add 2 materials to a print. Would really like to know your thoughts. Can you send me either via DM GPs or even just in live stream, just drop a link to the specific one. My SP has a data center inside of a mountain. It looks like something straight from James Bond. That's freaking cool. So glad the Mark III is selective auto leveling, no more waiting. Yes. If it was new in your neighborhood, let it bake for a couple of months before totally jumping. Work for several ISPs in the first 6 months can be brutal. Okay. It's definitely new in our neighborhood because this neighborhood is new, but it's only 30 houses. It's a really small neighborhood. Okay. So it says to just get the thread started. I'm gonna do a little bit more than that because it's me. Okay, that's definitely in, but we still can wiggle. And then the other ones are on the underside. So we will flip this around. And you can, it's hard to see it because of how bright this filament is, but the big slot here and a big slot there. We will probably just use an Allen key for this. Oop, and we drop in the screws. You know what? I think it's going to be easier if I actually position it like this. This seems like the smarter move. No. I still can't actually get my driver in there. Huh. Oh, here we go. Oops. Oh, come on. It's kind of an awkward. There we go. Got it. Okay, and then the last one. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay, so I have them all loosely threaded in. Lots of 3D printer parts are double oh, yes. Double entendres, yes. If it's not a hammer, it's a boop. Most important question, what is Aaron bringing for lunch? I have no idea. I had a little bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I slept like crap last night. I was up till like probably like 1:30 or so looking at stuff for projects and wiring and all sorts of stuff. Like I was looking at the assembly manual for the fan that I'm picking up today. And then Jackson woke up shortly after I went to bed, and then he was up early, so like I'm tired. I didn't actually get out of bed. Well, like I was back in and out of bed, but I didn't actually hop up to like 10, and then it was like quick shower, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, set up for the stream, and you know, here we are. Let's see, turn the unit around, attach them, now turn the unit around and tighten the tops. Okay, cool, so we can fully tighten these ones. It seems plenty tight. It seems plenty tight as well. And then just we're gonna tighten up the, yeah, I'm not left-handed, so we'll use my right hand to secure this. Okay. That's as tight as I'm getting it. And this should hopefully still spin. It does. Cool. Yeah, we should be good then. Use the unsleeved one in the kit. Wait, did it come with one? I didn't realize it actually came with tools. I was using the ones from the, well, these are like Star Torx Spit, right? The ones that, or maybe they're not Torx Spit, but they look like Torx Spit. These are the ones from the Mark IV kit. I love my fiber. I'm biased. I installed it for, oh, nice. Now needs to reel a Big Mac bed. I have had fiber for years. It's worth it. When it goes down, it's not ISP, but electricity. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I found a nozzle wiper mod for the X1 bamboo printers. If you're interested, I'll DM you. Sure, yeah, I'll take a look. Absolutely. Even with the big thunderstorms on Saturdays, we never lost internet. Sweet. Just sent you a link to a Discord. Yeah, thank you. I will definitely take a look. Okay, so all of those are tightened in. I'm gonna sneeze. And I'm back. Warning, this step is crucial in order for the MMU to work properly. The groove inside the pulley must be perfectly aligned with the filament openings in each body. Take a perfectly straight piece of filament and guide it through the first opening, align the pulley, make sure the lock screw is still perpendicular, and tighten it. Okay, so similar to what we do with extruders. Align and tighten the remaining. There's 32 comments on this, which feels like a lot, so let's see if anybody... Wait, what the heck? I think I clicked the wrong button. See what people are saying. I managed to lose the grub screw. PF! Thank you very much, man. 10 gifted memberships, dude. let's see. We get cheers, and then it's pizza time. We had pizza yesterday. It's pizza time. Thank you very much, Pia. The gifted memberships all around really help out the channel, so I very much appreciate it. Okay, so we're just gonna go through it, looks like, one by one with a piece of filament, roll it back and forth, make sure that, you know, everything's looking good, and then we will tighten it down. So let me sort of line things up a bit here. Cool. Let me grab a piece of filament. 1 second. Probably just do some PLA. Let's see, is this PLA? It is. It says to use a really straight piece of PLA, or not PLA per se, but like a straight piece of filament, which I don't exactly have. I can kind of bend it straight. That kind of works. Let me get some flush cutters to cut the end so it's not kinked. Okay, so not exactly a straight piece of filament, but like, it's pretty good. Hey AP! Still don't have fiber available in my area. Yeah, it was never an option when we were renting. Actually, it was in the very end. Let me take a quick sip of water. I'm also gonna be careful. Aaron has all these cups and like different size straws, and I can never figure out which straw goes to what. So I didn't grab a straw for this, and that's why I tried drinking from the lid without the straw, and it got all over my shirt. So let's see if I can be an adult and drink water correctly. I did it. Yeah, the first apartment we rented when we moved out of my buddy's house was really old. Like, it was built in the 60s, I want to say. And they definitely didn't have fiber. And then, okay, so yeah, basically so we're just gonna shove filament. Oh, you can't see, you just see me. We're gonna shove filament through. And then the second place we lived in was also fairly old. I think it was built in the 70s, the condo we were in before we moved to Idaho. And it was also not an option. And the cable, man, once lockdowns happened and everyone was working from home, the cable was so freaking slow during the day. I had to like get up early morning and night if I wanted to get high, you know, like the speeds. Then we moved out here, it was also cable, but then they added fiber as an option sort of later on. So this is kind of silly. It doesn't actually engage. Let me show you this. Because we only have the one half of the teeth, it doesn't actually engage. So I can slide this in and out as much as I want. So what I'm probably gonna do is like press it. I don't actually know what the best route is with this. I'm just gonna shoot for center, I think, and hope for the best. And if I have to adjust later, I will. It's definitely where the teeth are. Let's see. That seems roughly center. Yeah, it seems roughly center. So I'm just gonna use hand tighten this. Okay. That seems pretty good to me. It's gonna be a little bit of eyeballing with this though, just because it's not actually engaging with the teeth. So I'm gonna hope for the best. So let's see, that seems right about center roughly. And yeah, I'm just like using 2 fingers basically to tighten it into place out of fear of not stripping it. So we'll use this end, kind of position it as what looks center. That looks, nope, that's definitely, come on, why are we spinning so much? Right about there, seems roughly center. Okay, that seems plenty good. Now we got this one. Maybe right about, oh, right about there seems roughly center. Okay, that seems plenty tight. And one more. Yeah, just sort of like a, I don't know, half a dugga. No ugga, all dugga. Okay. And then that also, no, that's not right. This one doesn't feel quite as, that seems right. Feeling pretty good about that. Okay. Tighten this down. Let's get, ah, oh, damn it. No. Ah, oh, 1 second. I'll have to redo that. That seems pretty good. Come on, buddy. Give me my Allen key. Give me my Allen key back. There we go. Okay, so let's not turn it counterclockwise. Okay, there we go. It's interesting because the spacing, the spacing between them is not even. Like, I don't know how well you can see that, but basically this one right here has the biggest gap between them out of all of them. But if I'm looking at the teeth, I was basically focused on like big opening, goes into center teeth, goes into there. Big opening, goes into center teeth, goes into there, you know. This one, you know what? This one probably could be nudged left a hair. So that's what I'm gonna do. So the one that's got the biggest gap, I think, is actually, let's see how that looks. Let me get a little, 1 second to focus on this last one. This is, I mean, this is important, right? Like if you don't have this aligned, it's gonna make everything a little bit rougher. Yeah, that feels good. It still has a slightly larger gap than the rest, but I feel like that tiny bit of tweaking probably was a good idea. That looks pretty centered. That looks pretty centered. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I think I'll do one last little ugga. Yep. 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 Mm-hmm. That was another thing. Oh, you can't see that. That was another thing I kept reading that was funny in like the electrician forums was like, you have to, like if like the job is kind of janky or whatever, you have to like tap it and say that'll do or that should do. That's how you know it'll hold up just fine. Okay. Hey, Steve's here. Hey, Steve. Hey, RS. Wait, I said hi to RS earlier. Hey, do it. Did you place some filament in there? Yeah, so I did. But I don't feel like it actually helped that much because it doesn't actually engage, like it just sort of passes right over it. It didn't feel like it did, and also there's play, like there's left and right play. Let me see if I can show. I know you just built, or you know, but there's some wiggle room. Maybe not a whole lot. Yeah, there is. Okay, so like if I twist it, right? I don't know how well you can see that, but like it's got some play, so it's hard to exactly know whether it's perfectly aligned or not. But I did use, before you came in, then I did use the filament in each of them to at least sort of give me that, like a smaller line to look at. Oops. So hopefully it'll work out. But I feel like that's about as good as I'm gonna be able to get it. right now based off of this. It's nice with, like, I'm so used to using it with the, oh gosh, not the clockwork, but the, yeah, the clockwork, right? The clockwork too, where you engage the gears, and so that actually helps align it. But with this, it's more of just a reference point. The one you said has a gap, looks pretty far to the left, should be moved to the right. What? I moved it. I think, wait, I did move it. I think it might be perspective too, because this is an like this lens is kind of wide, but like that looks centered. I think it's the light reflecting that's also making it kind of play tricks a little bit. Second one from the left end. This one? You think it should be moved to the right a little bit? It looks good to me. If I move that one, I feel like all of them need to get moved to the right a little bit. So you're saying this one looks off, so you think it needs to go to the right? Second one in from the bearing doesn't seem... Okay, all right. Well, 20 or 30 eyes are better than mine, so. So let's loosen this up just a hair. And we're thinking it needed to go a little bit further to the right. Well, I'll put that filament, let me show that filament back in here too. I feel like now there's a bigger gap on the far left one. Like now there's a watch, I'll show it now. Okay, that's probably as tight as I'm getting it. Oh, come on, buddy. There we go. So now I feel like there's more of a gap. Oh, come on. This gap feels wider now. Like this is the widest gap by far out of all of them. So do we think that one needs to come in a hair then too, from the bearing? So the rest of them are fairly even at this point. Like that to that looks pretty spot on to that. This one's the one where to me doesn't. Okay, yeah, yeah, it looks slightly off now that I've moved that other one. Oh, let's take the filament too. It kind of helps, even if it doesn't do a whole lot, it sort of helps brace it. Okay. I still feel like that gap, it's pretty damn close now. Okay, let's take a look now. Are we feeling better? I don't know, the angle, man. Oh, there we go. Now they'll be off to the right slightly. The gaps feel pretty damn even between all of them now, so like I do like that. Steve says much better. I tweaked number 3 and number 4, but that's just me. Yeah. we're building it to like Modbot standards, not Steve standards. There's no spacers. No, there's not. That actually would be a really good idea, because then you could just position the one and then shove spacers on. I don't know why there's not some kind of a... It's pretty tight in there, so unless you're actually shoving something on when you install these initially, it'd be really difficult. It'd be really difficult to fit them in at this point. Okay. All right. Everyone's happy. So we have done that. We looked at the comments. Okay, sweet. Now we're grabbing that final motor. One more motor. Let's see. Final motor. We can get rid of this box finally. Too many variables that would make that less than ideal. Really, it's just about the filament path being centered. Yeah, it's kind of an awkward place. Like, unless you loaded them on, unless they were like metal shims, precise, they were super precise, I feel like that would be tricky. And then to add something after the fact, it's pretty recessed, this whole thing. Like it kind of goes down like that. So it'd be tricky to get something to like snap on there and still have access to those set screws. I'm surprised they aren't using a piece of filament to line them up instead, since it may not actually be even. No, it does tell you to use a piece of filament. We were using a piece of filament initially. Where have you been, Bearded? Probably because of printed part tolerances and also the tolerances on the gears themselves. Okay. Motor, check. Selector assembly, check. Let's zoom out a little bit. We're a little too close for comfort. There we go. Now we need M310 screws, 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. Check. Oh, I found the lost one. Or I found a bunch of them. What the heck? Oh, these are M36s. But yeah, I did find a bunch of M310s as well. So 1, 2, 3. And then we need 5 by 120 inch shafts, which I did see a second ago. That's these guys. And then the last thing we need are 2 square nuts, which we've got right here. I just got here, missed that part. Okay. Yeah, we did use, it does call to use a piece of filament. The only issue that I mentioned with it when I was doing it was like, I'm used to using a piece of filament on the clockwork extruder where you basically, where am I? Here I am. Where you've got your gears and they're kind of up against each other, and then you push it in, and that helps you, you can see it and feel it kind of bite onto it, and it helps to straighten it. Or maybe just the path is tighter. I think that's what it is. I think I'm wrong. I'm wrong. There's not 2 gears, but the path is tighter, so the filament actually can center the gear teeth on it. With this, it's not tight enough of a path. The filament basically like grazes over the teeth, and so it's more of a visual, it seems like it's more of a visual reference than actually aligning the teeth. At least that's what I'm seeing here. Insert 2 M3 nuts into the marked sections. Okay, so we are, stand this up. Burp. Burp. Like that. And I'm gonna do the same thing I've been doing, which is just take my little flat head. The bridging on this turned out not super beautiful. So I'm just trying to like scrape the edges to, if there's any bit of filament, clear it. Oh, Steve's here, so you can see us. You get to see us use a hammer, Steve. It's the all lowercase hammer. Watch, I'll show you. If we need it, we might. Damn it, dropped my nut. 1 second. There we go. So look at it. This is it's our boop. Real small boop. And you just go a little boop, 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 boop. There's a little printed piece sticking out on the bottom side, so we need to move it like that, but it's been working really well to just tap these in. It's the all lowercase hammer, or the boop, someone called it. It's a hammer. Is the selector always engaged when printing with each different filament? If not, you don't need it to be 100% perfect. Is the selector, I don't know the answer to that, you know. Okay, this one's gonna be real awkward. Let's see if I can just, oh yeah, we got it. Cool. That popped right in. And that popped right in. Very nice. you gotta, I wonder if I do that when I'm not streaming. I know when I'm working on projects, like I'll talk out loud at times. I feel like it's helpful, but I don't know if I actually make sound effects normally. Okay, so the selector, insert the selector into the pulley body as seen in the picture. So from this orientation, we are taking the selector with the nut facing, this isn't tight, was this never supposed to be tightened? Insert the two, wait, when did we attach this? When did we attach this? In the end, the tube, nope, that's not it. Press the tubes, insert the bronze. There we go. Tighten them just slightly for now. We'll tighten them up fully later on. But did I miss when we were supposed to do that, or is it still supposed to be loose? Okay, gotcha. So we're gonna tighten it up against the lead screw then? Basically to make sure there's no backlash. Everything's better with sound. You gotta make sounds. I think it's pretty common. I don't think it's very uncommon to make sounds. Okay. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that right now. It looks like it's still supposed to be loose. We've got this guy just sitting right here. Okay, we're just gonna leave that loose for now. It's definitely dragging. Is there not supposed to be a bearing on the other side? All right, we'll just insert the two shafts through the marked openings in the pulley body. The shafts must pass your selector and engage on the other side. Okay. How tight is this going to be? All right. Not super tight. Is there something that's gonna? I assume there's something that's gonna lock this in place because that feels. That feels. Why? Oh, there we go. There we go. It helps if you have everything lined up properly. Once you get it in the other side, it does sort of tighten up a bit. Let's see. Insert the two shafts through the shafts must pass through. Push the shafts in until they're fully inserted. Okay, so I think that's what's gonna do it. Yeah, it tightens up in the end. Is it supposed to not be able to slide smoothly though? Like it. What are we rubbing on? Let's get the second one in. Hold on. Let's get the second one in. Let's just not jump any conclusions. And the second one is on the bottom. Like that. And it goes right, lined up perfectly. Okay, and we'll take our little Allen key to make sure we fully seat it, or a driver, I guess. Okay. That is really tight. Is it supposed to be that? Is it supposed to be that tight? Anybody that's built one of these, Steve or Everett, should not be tight. Yeah, that is very tight. Well, I don't see how the main body itself can be the issue. I don't see how I could have inserted those any differently. Is it rubbing? I wonder if it's the printed part that's rubbing on something. It's weird, like so in the center, like it's not super smooth, but it's not bad right here. It's towards the ends where it seems to get much tighter. Specifically, oh yeah, both ends really. I wonder if it's something that will align or wear in, or if I've got to disassemble. That doesn't, I don't love the way that feels at all. Should be really smooth. Yeah, that's not right then. Huh. Well, let's pop these back out. I don't think there's anything we can do with these, but it's just the fact that it is tightening towards the ends, like it makes me think that there could be a slight bow. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is that there could be. Hey, Sweeham. Use essential swimming on that. If it binds, it won't work. Okay, then yeah, we got to take this out and figure it out. Interesting. Okay. What do I have that I can push this out with? That'll do. Okay. Okay, so that is slippery. So okay, so if these are not, like if these are at any slight angle, it's gonna bind. But if they're straight, so I'm wondering, something tells me it's these guys that are being, because like there's some play in them. Printed part distance holes. How about reaming the holes in the housing? Yeah, so it could be the printed part distance. Oh, wow. Yeah, there is a crack on this part. You see that? There is a crack on this piece. And if I look at these, it feels like this one is slightly favoring this side a bit. And based off what I'm seeing with just moving these rods, that's all it would take is a little hair of a difference. So I probably need to reprint out this piece, which is a bummer. Oops. I mean, I still... It's a pretty thin wall. I'm like wondering if I just hit it with a heat gun actually, but... Yeah, I did scale. Try reprinting that piece with no scaling. Yeah, so I don't think it's these rods. They're rolling. There's some crap on the table, but they're rolling relatively smoothly. Yeah, we could try to reprint out the part. I've got the filament already loaded up. Let's see. So it is not the buffer. Wait. No, it's not the buffer. It's not the next extruder parts. There we go. Selector. The question I have though is, since I scaled it the first time, and it looks like the rod caused this to split, if I don't scale it, I would think it would only make it split even worse. So I'm wondering if I don't scale it, if I shouldn't then instead remount that hole. Like what's the diameter of this? It's 5mm diameter. You're probably going to be chasing scaling issues. The main housing, the rods go in were scaled in all directions. Wait, main housing the rods going to do were scaled in all directions. The impact in Z is less. The scaling this part. Hey, engineer. Yeah, I scaled it. I'm wondering if I just print it as is with no scaling and then just remount those two holes to 5mm. My concern though is if I remount out exactly to 5mm, if it'll make it where it's too loose. I think Steve is saying the part shrink more next. Yeah, I didn't actually scale. I didn't scale Z at all. I only scaled X and Y because of that. Aaron has mentioned a few times that he doesn't usually scale Z. He just scales X and Y. So I didn't. It was 100.5% in X and 100.5 in Y. If I change part orientation, so that way it's printing tall, it's gonna need supports then for a fair bit of it. 'Cause it's... I'm gonna leave outer brim on because I was having some issues with parts getting bumped for some reason. So it's an hour print. I am printing it with pretty aggressive settings though. I printed everything in really aggressive settings. It was pretty much Voron, like 4 wall, 5 top bottom. Oh, I gotta go, good luck. All right, thanks for stopping by, Steve. One thing I'm curious about, since if we're not going to use this part, what I think we should still do just for fun is take out the take out these two pieces that it's sliding on, and I have the PETG part that came with the kit. I think we should install them, just those two pieces, and then shove this back in here to verify that it actually is sliding smoothly. Because if it's not, then it's something else I got to look into. But the concern I have is getting these out. I feel like I'm probably going to have to just break these pieces to get this out. Unless I've got, let's see. if I get a bigger driver. Dear God, that one is really in there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, let's grab the PTG part and see. Yeah, if it didn't come out, I was going to use flush cutters just to sort of tear it apart, but I got those out now, so let's grab the PTG part to verify, because if it's still not sliding smooth with the PTG part, then the next things I need to look into are either, you know, is it potentially bent, even though it doesn't look like it is, one of the rods, or two, is it to do with the actual main housing itself that these rods are sitting into? And if that's the case, then maybe I need to know what GP says, which is ream it out a little bit. So let's see if I can find the selector body and the printed parts that were included. I found you. Okay. Cool. So here is the PTG part that it came with. Even with their PTG part, it took quite a bit of force to get that in. And it's also, I remember saying this, I don't know if anyone that saw last week's stream, hey Just, hi from Germany, how's it going? It's actually shredding a bit of the inside cavity of even these printed PTG parts. So I was concerned that, I thought it was maybe a scaling thing with mine, but it seems like that's just the way it is. It's a really sharp, tight fit. There we go. Okay. So orientation should be like this. Like this. So let's slide this rod through, slide it through here. That feels smooth. It's not smooth. It's the same tightness. So it's not actually that part. Yeah, this is the same level of friction. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is grab the housing that came with this and install this in that housing. If it's still tight in that housing, then I think I've got issues with my rods. If it's not tight in that housing, then we know it is this housing that's the issue. Mine is also binding because of the blades and the place holding the PTFE tube behind the selector. But this piece though doesn't have, this piece doesn't have the blades in it yet. I haven't installed anything. It's the big one, yeah, exactly. And I'm looking, it doesn't look like this is making any contact with anything right now other than those two rods. That's the only thing that can be doing this. Yeah, I hope it's not the big one too. I don't see how it really could be though. So we'll see. Let's grab this. Slide this out. Okay, let me grab the big body from the other one now. Have you got a set of vernier calipers to check the distance of the rods? Vernier calipers. I do not. I've only got my little hand digital calipers. Why don't I see the big, oh, here it is. Okay, so let's check this out. So let's get this in the same orientation. Let's get this in the same orientation, which is like this. And then let's install these rods. Super smooth. Wow, that one's tight. Why is that one so tight? There we go. That's smooth. That is very smooth. So the issue is with the way these are sitting. So I don't think that these front ones need to be very tight. These are fairly loose, while in mine, they're also okay. Let me get the 5mm reamer. Well, at least we've narrowed it down. It wasn't my selector, although I'm reprinting it. That's fine. 6mm, 5mm. That's not very tight. The walls could be towed in or out on the big print. It's possible. Anything is possible. It's tough to freaking reach into the bottom one. I can't go from the other side because it's a different, the other side, it kind of like, it goes smaller as it progresses. Okay. Let's see if we have got any improvements. Nope, that's not right. Did it actually shrink in the Z, maybe? I don't think so. But I don't know for sure. So blade goes like that. Okay. Nice and smooth. Tight. That sucks. That's definitely a bummer. I don't know what the move is at this point. Yeah, I mean, that explains why in the center, that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. Parts on an old 3D printer, print parts to replace them, print again. Yeah. Yeah, in the center, it's definitely like the smoothest. And then as you go out, because it's being because it's being pulled at a slight angle. That's what's causing it. What to do? What to do? Man, I'm trying to think of anything I can do other than reprinting it. It's pretty dang reamed out, at least that top one is. I think the bottom one seems to be the primary issue. I'm curious if I would think it wouldn't bind with just the one. Let me try the bottom though, just by itself, because I've been doing top and then bottom. Yeah, of course it's smooth. Hey, Sweeham. Hey, Jose. Is the bottom of the big part flat? Could it have warped? Yeah, so it feels pretty... There's a slight warp. There is a slight warp. That's probably what's doing it. I wonder if I can show you guys. Should have bought a bamboo. This was printed on a bamboo. Bamboo did this. So I can get you guys down low enough where you can see it. One sec. It's small. It's small, but it doesn't take much. Especially with these raw. I mean, everything else, it hasn't been an issue. Oops. See if I can get you guys at like a decent enough angle where you can see this. Nope, we gotta get you lower. Okay. Can we see this? Oops. Side view. There we go. Okay. Try to get you guys right in line with it. If you get it at just, let's see. I think this angle is probably easiest. It's like, it's not much, but it's there. Like, hold on. Let me see if I get this. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. You can see the light passing through. It's not, I mean, it's really not a lot. Like when I took the part off, I wasn't able to see it, but if I press down on the far left of the part, so that way that side's flat. Yeah, I mean, it's real small. Like it's really small. Which I didn't notice it, obviously, but does the black PTG part bind? No, it doesn't. No, the black PTG part does not bind. What I think I would like to do is try to see if I can ream out this bottom left hole a bit, and then based off that, if it's still the same way, my options are, I mean, there's only two options, right, really? Like the options is one, reprint out the part, which that will take a while. It is a very big part. Or two, swap over to PTG on that. I found the top rod of the selector to be kind of loose east and west, wondering if yours is going to be the same. Yeah, I'm not convinced that reaming it's gonna work. Yeah, the second it pops into that slot, it just binds. What about heating it up with a heat gun and sticking some weight on top? I don't know. I'm more inclined to try to heat up that pocket and then slide it back and forth. So if I press down, so it's definitely, it seems like it's in the warp direction. So like up and down is the issue. Because if you look at this, like look at me trying to flick it, right? No movement. I press this down. And it's a hell of a lot smoother. I think both sides might need to go down a hair. So, if it's just in the part, printed mine in Prusa ASA without scaling worked perfectly. One thing I'm wondering when we're talking about heat is if I were to heat up this side of the printed part and then basically slide this to that side, if it could help basically push that a little bit. Like basically just hit this from the outside with the heat gun. I don't know if you meant with the heat gun and sticking some, okay, I think you were talking about correcting the part, but I'm wondering if, because it's such a small amount and everything else is in there properly, heating this up and then using basically this part to force that bottom rod into place. And then maybe doing the same thing on this side. Soldering iron might localize the heat though. The issue with the soldering iron that I have is that the outside of this is smaller than the inside. And I feel like I'd have a much harder time not widening the outside portion of it and also not touching, like, if when I touch it with a soldering iron, it's really gonna push it. Yeah, I think soldering iron would be too intense as well, because I think that by touching it, it's gonna cause the filament to shift a bit, like more than I would want, and then I'm gonna be dealing with more filament being pressed up against it. I don't think heating up the build plate will do it. I think I might just try it with a heat gun. We've got nothing to lose, right? Like, it's certainly not the first thing I'd recommend anyone do, but at this point, it's like we don't have really anything to lose. So let's give it a go. I'm just going to basically try to target this area of the part and see how it goes. I think that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, exactly. Worst comes to worst, the part doesn't work and we have to reprint it, which is sort of the situation we're in. So my battery, I've got full battery. So I'm just gonna start heating up this section. And while I'm doing that, I'll start slowly sliding this over. It's hard to aim. I guess I could try. Yeah, okay. Let me. It's feeling a little better. It's just Jackson's here. Hi, buddy. Ah. Hold on, Jackson's here. Take a quick Jackson break. Hi, buddy. Daddy's having issues with his printed parts, but what's new?
Update on the Flowtech hot end with CT on my K1C.
Joseph, thank you for the $5 donation. Update on the Flowtech hot end with CHT on my K1C. Stock at 220 on PLA was getting 20 millimeters per second, cubic millimeters per second of flow, and now, wow, 33. That's a freaking awesome improvement. That's super cool. Are you using still a 0.4 millimeter nozzle? You press the record button, you silly. I don't want to record what I'm saying. I don't want to record what I'm saying, thank you. You picked your outfit, Bubby? Well, I don't know. Did I turn off the mic? I don't know what I did. Look it's you. Look, dude. Look right there. That's you. You can turn off the microphone. Don't touch the microphone. That's Daddy's. That's Daddy's microphone. What? That's a camera cable. That's the MMU3. Oh, you want to touch the part again because it's bright green. Can you say hi, Jack? Can you say hi? No. he really likes the green parts. Oh, you like the green? Is that cool? Yeah, Daddy's having warping issues, Bubby. Okay. Dad does having warping issues, bud. Yeah. What is it? You want more? He said, yeah. No, no more, baby. You got 2. That's plenty. That's the camera. That's the MMU3 body I'm having issues with. That's the computer. It's a preview of the print happening behind you. Yeah, right there behind you. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's what that is. That's the curtains that I put up. He has good taste, yeah. Huh. That's you! That's you on the TV! Yeah. That's you, big guy, on the screen. Uh-huh. Dada's gotta work, Bubby. He's trying to heat up a part to fix a mistake he made. Mm-hmm. Can I have those back, baby? You're gonna go with Mama to the store. You get some cool stuff. Say hi to people. You say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Love you. I love you. Here's Mommy. Oh, that's the camera. All right. He did something with the mic. Yeah, I think I can fix it. I don't know. There's a red light now, which I think everyone can hear me, right? You need to begin him and Aaron to bring him to Maryland. I don't know. Thank you, son. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, he turned on text to speech on the TV in our bedroom the other day, and it freaked Erin out because the TV was talking to her. Bless you. Okay. Love you. I don't know how long to hold this for. I received my Gato tools. Oh, nice. Those were basically like the Nippics, right? Just different color? Words are hard. It's okay. This isn't no, this isn't English class, so. Okay, that side feels pretty good. I'm gonna switch hands. This side doesn't feel very good. I don't know. This feels like a lot of heat. Try from the outside on this one. Let's not burn ourselves. Oh, 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 hold up. Dude, that is super smooth. This is so, guys, dude, it's so smooth. It's smoother than the PTG part. Nothing bad happened, right? Like the things are still in where they need to be. That is so smooth. Let's go. Hey, the builds might not be conventional, right? Like we're using hammers and heat guns on parts, but that is buttery smooth. Like, oh, wow. Dude, I don't usually do sound effects for, that is awesome. Yeah, it's a huge part, and everything looks fine on it. So let's see if I can get these out now. Yep, still goes out easily. Oh my gosh, okay. Well, now I'm like wondering if we even reprint this part. Because, I mean, it's reprinting, but that little split right there, there's a tiny little split right there, right? But it's a super thin wall. I'm gonna probably try right now just to hit it with the heat gun and see if I can fix it. Because why not? Heat seems to be, heat seems to be the way forward today. So let's just try it. Oh, I should have popped these out first. You know what I think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna heat that up and then push this in, so that way it's putting less stress on that part. I am very, very, the split can start to bind. Wait, reprint, that split can start to bind. I think, are you sure, Maurice? If I hit it with the heat, I feel like it's such a thin wall. Where's the part I'm looking for? Where's the Allen key? Here we go. Here's the big one. It's ABS. It is ABS. I feel like if I heat it back up, it's probably... I mean, it's already printing. We're already, I don't know, we're at halfway, so I'm not against swapping it. I'm just thinking since we've been using heat for this. Looks like it's pretty damn bonded. Nah, I think Maurice is right on this part. I think though, I'll probably, let's see, what's the outer diameter of these 6 mil? Yeah, 6 mil. So I will end up reaming the hole, especially since we didn't scale for this next part. I'll end up reaming that hole. Unless you're going, again, that material cluster scenario, that's not going to do much. It's already printing, right? Don't want to use, yeah, it's already printing. We'll just use it. It's just, okay, let's open up the giveaway. I've been streaming for 2 hours. I feel like I should have already done that. Nobody said anything. So let me do this really quick here. Let me change the camera angle. I'm very happy. Let's see. Oh, I was gonna say now that it's cooled down, let's check. But I'm confident that that worked. And I'm not gonna lie. I was not very. I was probably 25% confident that it was maybe going to work. I just didn't have any other ideas. I don't think, because of how big that part is, I didn't think it was very realistic to try to heat it up and correct the flex in it. I didn't see that happening, but it seemed like it was either that or reprint the part. So yeah, I think we saved it. I mean, it was, you saw it, it was so smooth. Okay, let's get the giveaway going. Let's talk more good. All right. Hey, RH, we were just talking about you. Well, I mean, earlier in the stream, Tor said he was working on printing out parts for the build, and I think 1 or 2 others was as well. Pin message. Okay, giveaway form is in chat. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. But you missed the main body of this. So the main body of this had a slight warp that I didn't see. It's very small, but once you get it onto a flat surface and like there's light passing through behind it, you can see it ever so slightly. And it hasn't been an issue for anything, but these 2 rods that the selector slides back and forth on, if you have, you know, basically the bottom one at a slight angle from the top one, it was causing it to bind. It just wasn't smooth. And so we're trying to figure out what to do without having to potentially reprint the whole thing. And we took a heat gun basically to where those bottom metal joints or metal rods sit in the printed part, and then just went back and forth with the selector until it corrected that bottom rod, and now it's super smooth. So that was exciting. You do not have to be in Discord. Nope. Nope. We'd love to have you, but no, you don't. If you don't have a Discord at all, then just say like, you know, NA or something like that. But yeah, I pretty much always contact, excuse me, the winner via email. I've had that there forever. And I talk to a lot of the people that are in the Discord or that hang out here. So if it's someone I've talked to a fair bit, then sometimes I'll just message them via Discord if we've talked there before. People finally got the files to print. Yeah, that's super exciting. I bet you're jazzed to see like people assembling them, and I'm sure it's got to feel good to see your baby out in the wild once people start, you know, getting them fully built. Are you married? And if so, what does your partner think of your rules? Oh, rule number 1. I'm Rule number 1, I'm always right. Rule number 2, in the likely event that I am not right, no one goes in. Oh, number 1 goes into play. Slight warps or something I'm too used to before realizing that my VZR2 had a super weak mag. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I've printing with a lot of ABS, like I'm used to having some slight warp, but usually on such a small part, if there is any, like it's not really substantial. But this is a fairly large part. I mean, the base of this is pretty big, so it's just got more room to warp on it. I did notice there is one more part that did have a warp on it, which I noticed when I tightened it up, and it's this this top piece. When I was showing you guys, you can see the little edge here. It's got a slight warp to it, and the little edge here has got a slight warp to it, which is odd to me because I've never had warping issues really on the X1. So I don't know if I just need to clean the bed a little bit more or what the deal is, but this is the first batch of parts since after we replaced the heated bed, but I don't think this will be an issue. It's like right here, and I looked, nothing gets in contact with right here, and this is still like perfectly straight as far as I can tell. But yeah, I have noticed a little bit. How do I get into the Discord? It should be in the description of the video, I think, right? Pretty sure in the description there's a link. Maybe use mouse ears. I did actually use brims on quite, like this, even this part I'm printing right now. I use brims like this part I just printed. I've been using brims on this printer since we rebuilt the heated bed the other day, or swapped it, because I was having some initial adhesion issues, which is just odd. I mean, the bed temp's been stable, so I don't know. And I did even, I mean, I've done a few things to sort of try to diagnose it, include cleaning the bed really well, because I think the bed was out of the printer for a while, so I don't doubt that dust and like from me moving it got some oils on it, but it seemed like it helped a little bit because I was getting like actual failures. I got a couple of failures early on, but it seems like it's much better now. But yeah, I might just for the heck of it take it out and hit it one more time with a drop of like Dawn dish soap and just really scrub out anything that might have built up on it. I need to get you some Vision Miner for insurance. I have a bottle of it somewhere. I know people love it, and for years, when I worked at Matter Hackers, we sold it, and we used it on some crazy materials like polycarbonate, and I want to say even when we were testing out the Intamsys, we used it with Peak and Ultim. I just have never really used it, and I've had good luck without using it. But yeah, I mean, for cheap insurance, I'm certainly not against. This part looks perfectly flat. I'm definitely not against it. It's a silly, like if it helps and you've got it, it's probably silly not to try it or use it a little bit. Is that ABS or PTG? The green parts are all ABS. Yeah, green parts are ABS. PEO sheet tested. No, I wouldn't use the PEO sheet with ABS. Joined it, nice. Yeah, thanks for joining. I haven't really mentioned the Discord much lately. I probably should mention on the main channel as well. Also, I haven't said it this stream, but if you have not hit the like button, please do. What are we at on likes? We've got, dang, 116 people here. Let's get to 100 likes. We got 73 likes. It's just 27 people. Easy peasy, I believe. Smash the like button for heat gun hacks. Cloud 42 found that Bamboo struggles with prints of that size. He solved it with glass-filled ABS. Interesting. I've done a lot of ABS printing between the X1 Carbon and the P1S. I would say that 90% of all printing I've done on them have been ABS or ASA. Maybe 80%. I'd probably 20% PLI, but probably 80%. It's done. I don't know what all it's done right now looking around, but it's done a few Vorons. It's done. What the heck have I used? Printer builds. I'm trying to think. VZBot, we're all on it. Yeah, I don't know, but I haven't had very many issues. But also, a lot of those printer parts are not that big. Like even the motor mounts typically aren't huge, even though VZBot had CNC. But like just in general. So maybe you're right. Yeah, I haven't done. The majority have been smaller to what I would describe as mid-sized parts. So. Check live stream. Okay. What is that? The Big Mac. Oh my God. The spool. That spool is a very close fit to that tool head. Ooh, also Maurice, I see your I see the Nipix type, or I mean the Gato that are basically blue Nipix. They look nice. I want to get some vision miner from Hector for my P1S. Yeah, I think I have a bottle. Let me see if I can find it really quick. We've got still 18 minutes left on this part, so. Vision miner, yeah, right here. The there we go. Nope, not right. This is the stuff. The only real complaint I've heard people say about it is just the cost of it, but from everything I've heard, you don't need to apply it after every print, and oh, no music. I've got AC on and the printer behind me, and the music's usually so low on my end that I couldn't actually tell. Thank you. There we go. Aaron is loving it on his P1S fleet. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of people only having to apply it like, I mean, I've heard everything from every few times to like 20 or 30 times. Yeah, we used it with polycarbonate. It basically looks like a, it comes in a vape juice bottle. I mean, I know like anyone that sees this would be like, oh, it's a vape juice bottle. Is there a way to open this easily without, oh. There we go. Hector told us some people cut it with 50% iso. Interesting. One of the guys who used to work for us actually, no way. Is he alive? This stuff is not. Gee, why is it is very difficult to get out even with that opening. Dear God. Yeah, we're gonna tear the bag. I don't see any reason to. Hulk smash. Yeah, I don't. I get it. Like, for the it works for it, and I'm sure they saw vape juice and were like, that's a perfect thing. But like, I also don't love that it comes in this bottle because a lot of people vape. I vape for many years, and like it just seems like an accident waiting to happen. But yeah, this is the stuff. Anyways, nanopolymer adhesive. It's supposed to work with just about everything. I believe the one surface you don't really want to use it on is with glass. If you're printing with certain materials that are like really aggressive. I think I remember seeing, again, when I worked at Matter Hackers, we sold printers that could print Peak and Ultim, specifically the Intamsys. And if I remember correctly, somebody used this with a very large Peak or Ultim print, and the print was so strong that it, and this wouldn't let go, that it actually shattered the glass when it warped. So, yeah. It's, I have not used it a ton, but with the feedback I got from customers I had back in the day, ow, my foot is cracked. With feedback I've got from customers and enough people I know personally that have used it, I'm confident in saying like it works. It works well. So I think my biggest issue with it is that using something like this isn't like an excuse to not properly calibrate your printer, right? Like, you should still do all the things to get it where you've got a really solid first layer, you've dialed in your settings. Like this is sort of like a bonus or insurance, as I think it was Apollo that mentioned, but it shouldn't be used as like, ah, it's fine, I'll just throw some nano. Like I don't like. I think that you should still really spend the time to dial things in, and this is just that extra insurance and that extra bite for something like this, where just the tiny little corner lifts up off of it, and this probably would have, I'm sure it would have prevented that from happening. So. Here's a throwback for you, Mop. I can confirm that PA12 carbon fiber sticks good to the BQ. Yeah, that was on my ABS. That was on the what BQ printer was that? It was like the BQ B1, I think, or something like that. I liked that printer. It was a solid printer. Using my bamboo texture plate. That is the stuff. It's so good. I have to try some plug cover. We have our own. Wait, what did Tor say? He had a bad time, but he was fine. Oh. It just makes me sad even thinking about somebody vaping. I printed a couple of those microfiber cloth. I printed a couple of those Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. It's like, it's a printed part that the microfiber pad like attaches to, right? I think I saw it. I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about. I just saw it the other day. Does it leave any kind of residue or markings on the finished part? I don't think it's supposed to, because it's not supposed to come off with every print, but someone else might have to answer that. I could see it coming off with the part on something crazy, but for general stuff, like if you're using it for PLA and PTG, I would say no. For ABS and ASA, I don't know. I don't think so, though. I know Nero uses it. I know that I've heard him mention a few times that he uses it, and I haven't seen anything. Definitely wait for the bed to cool before 40C, or it'll hang on. And it lasts a lot. Yeah, that's what I've heard. You spread it on once, and it prints many times. Ask to Defo what is thinking of it. It's not a band-aid for a poorly tuned printer. Yeah, exactly. I use it on all my ABS ASA parts. Nice. Doing entire plates of tiny parts. Definitely want the insurance. Yeah, absolutely. I have nothing against using it for insurance. Like, that's what a lot of the stuff is. I mean, even, I'm trying to think, what are other things I've talked about with 3D printing for just cheap insurance? I think things like mouse ears, to me, are like cheap insurance. I mean, hell, even if you're doing something that, like, even a brim can be cheap insurance. But yeah, I'm certainly not against using something like this just to give yourself that bit of extra, especially when doing big parts or, like you just said, a big old tray of parts. I've never had any residue, even with straight polycarbonate. Nice, that's awesome. I know they said don't use it on the positron because of the glass. Yep, glass, I've seen glass shatter, like not in front of me, but I've seen a photo of someone that printed with Vision Miner and the part warped and the glass did not release. The glass just shattered and came like, I mean, it wasn't, I'm being dramatic. It wasn't like, ah, but there was broken glass. The bed was destroyed. You're saying check live stream channel. Ooh, that is a warped, or not a warped, yeah, that is a sandwiched bed. It looks like, I don't know what kind of bed's on there and how many contact points it has, but we can show, this was just shared. This is the bed, but it's a 1.3 millimeter range is awful. The things I would do is, one, use a variable mesh, so that way it's not having to try to compensate for all this craziness, and it can give you a more precise like area. In the center of your bed, I don't know on this printer how many contact points it has, but it looks to me like the center is potentially over-constrained. So I would be looking at that, or tightening the outside to match it. But because everything on the outside is sort of within some kind of a range, it's a taco for sure. But yeah, I think I would probably start with trying to see if the center is over constrained. But yeah, 1.3 millimeters is awful. I feel like a lot of, like, the goal, I think, typically is to get it within like 1 millimeter, I'm sorry, one layer height. So 0.2 or 0.25, but that's not always realistic. And on big printers, it's certainly not. Like my, I think my Sobol's at, the SV08, I think is at 0.4 and some change. And I think that I'm trying to think on the Magneto, I swapped the bed to a new bed that had a different magnet on it. And I think that the mesh was slightly worse on that. But yeah, 1.4 or 1.3, that's rough. Yeah, that's rough, man. You don't want, I wouldn't settle. Honestly, like, there's a lot of things you can do. One, see if something is being, what's the word I just used? Not constricted. Wow. Over-constrained. Yeah, I would check to see if you can loosen and tighten things to make it where it's more of an even tighten and something's not being over-constrained. Use variable mesh, and also you can do things like shimming. If you need to raise the center and it's not over-constrained, you can potentially throw some shims there. I did that with the, I actually did that with a Soval switch wire, and it helped substantially. So, but yeah, that's not good. Sorry to put your printer on blast, but that's a hell of a range. Yeah, definitely a taco bed. Definitely a taco bed. Hey, Phil! Sorry for yelling at you. Hey, Phil. Does do sales also. They had to buy one, get one. Oh, that's cool. If you squint, it's mint. I don't think I've heard that, but I like that. I like things around. This is a, what printer is this? This was an Elegoo Neptune 4 Plus, maybe? I've had a glass bed shatter completely, printing ABS with just 3D lac. Yeah, I mean, some people still swear by glass. I don't love glass. My favorite is powder-coated PEI. Like, I just love it. I like the texture. It's a lot more forgiving with the squish, and it just works with so many different things. But, I mean, to each their own. There's options are good. So, you know, if you found a formula and a temp range that seems to work for you and it's reliable, then that's really all that matters, right? So. Oh, that's a 4 Max? Oh, 4 Max. There's a printer called the 4 Max by, who made the 4 Max? Anycubic? Anycubic did? I really wanted one at one point. Anycubic 4. Yeah, Anycubic made the 4 Max. This printer, man, I never got it, but I really wanted it at one point. This was the 4 Max. And I loved that it was fully enclosed. I think it was direct drive. Yeah, I really wanted one of these for a while. It never happened. I don't remember, when did this launch, the original 4 Max? So All 3DP reviewed it in 2019. So yeah, 5+ years ago. So yeah, at one point I was like, man, I really liked it. Oh, speaking of beds, man, the freaking Anycubic, oh God, what was it called? That glass bed, like the diamond glass bed, Ultra Base. Dude, this was awesome for a while. And not Anycubic, Anycubic Ultra Base. When glass was still the standard and then this came out, I really liked the Ultra Base. It looks like, I don't know, it's just like glass with sort of an etched layer on it. Adhesion was really good on this stuff compared to everything I'd used before. Glass is really nice for TPU, in my opinion, but I just use PEI for everything else right now because I don't have an auto bed leveling. Do you use smooth PEI then, Liz? Because I've used powder coated PEI with TPU. It does stick really hard, but you typically can get it off. 3D printing has changed so much over the past, yeah, it's wild. It's crazy how much it's changed. I mean, I got my first printer 10 years ago now, and from where we are today to even just a couple years ago is nuts. But like, man, everything, like slicers were so rough, and firmware was a lot rougher, and hardware was super rough. Most of it was like non-printer specific stuff. It was like things that were repurposed to be able to be used for 3D printing. It's been a super fun journey. Honestly, if 3D printing had stayed where it was when I got into it 10 years ago, I eventually would have probably lost interest. I would have like learned more of the things, like learned as much as I could about the things that were available, and that would have been it. But because it's constantly evolving in all fronts, it's like, it's incredible. I love it. I still, like, even after 10 years, like, I love 3D printing. I think it's so freaking cool. All the things people are doing, from the hardware to the software, and firmwares to the projects. Like, it's just so cool. Oh, Robo R1? Yeah. God, the Robo R1. If anyone doesn't know what that is, that was one of the more, definitely a bed slinger. I don't want to say it was an i3. Huge white shell. Robo, can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, Robo R1. Yeah, this bad boy. Yeah, Robo was very popular at one point. It was like Robo, oh gosh, what's the ones that make like the simple metal? The R1 Plus was the bigger version of it. Yeah, this thing was tight for its time. That was your first machine, yeah. Carb glasses are fun. I was at school yesterday where they tried PTG and there were potholes in it like a bad road after. Oh no, yeah, PTG is the one I remember taking out chunks of glass. The glass coated beds are sweet. Yeah, I really liked it. I did, let's see, first printer I did was Mendel 90. Used an IKEA mirror as a build plate. Nice. I remember so Home Depot sells mirror tiles and they're like 300 mil by 300 mil or 1 foot squares. And I was stoked because one, they were cheap. Two, they were mirrors, so you could sort of see the underside of your hot end and see, like, I don't know, if there was buildup happening. Because tool heads were not nearly as, what's the word? Tool heads were not nearly as, the word pretty is not what I'm looking for, but they were rough, man. Tool heads were rough, and so visibility was not always a thing. So being able to see the reflection down of what was going on was awesome. But the issue with those tiles was they were freaking sharp. The edges were not finished. They were, I mean, super, super sharp. And I remember printing on it, I think it was on an AlphaWise printer, and I had a part that was really stuck, and so I was there with my spatula, prying at it. And when it finally gave way, all that force, I punched the side of the mirror tile, and man, it cut right into my hand pretty hard. And I won't go into the details, but like, it was not a pretty sight. And after that, I got rid of all mirror tiles. I mean, not the mirror tiles are bad, but like my only mirror tiles were those cheap Home Depot ones, and now I understood now why they were cheap tiles after that point. I have a Robo R1 running Clipper, and it's still, that's freaking awesome. All right, we are at 95%. The fun must go on. Also, if you have not signed up for the giveaway, we're going to be giving away a spool of PolyMaker filament in T-minus 3 minutes. So do that. Did we hit 100 likes? Ooh, 95. Okay. 5 people. 5 people just got to like it, and we'll hit 100. I believe we can do it. Okay, 2 minutes left on this. I should probably start removing... start prepping by removing all these pieces that were installed on here. So let me do that really quickly, or as quick as I possibly can. IKEA has a great square for almost nothing. A square mirror tile. I think I'll be sticking to PI sheets. Oh man, this is as high up as I can get it right now. I think it's okay for right this second. I'll change it in a sec. Let me just try to quickly get this up. Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, I did hear about the Nighthawk recall. Actually, I was watching, if you guys didn't get a chance to watch it, it was definitely a really interesting interview. I enjoyed it. Alan Mandic really did a interview in person on West3D's channel, and it was actually during that interview where either West3D brought it up or someone in chat did, and that's where I first heard about it. So I've got a Nighthawk 36 that I had planned on using for a upcoming project, but I'm not going to anymore. LDO basically, I think, gave 3 options. One is like, I think one is hold on to it. What were the options? Hold on to it for a couple months until the new one comes out and get the new one plus $10 credit. The second option was like, just keep using it, and then they'll give you like $30 or something like that. These are not probably exactly accurate.
And then the final option was return for refund. So clearly it must be a bigger issue. It must be a bigger issue than I initially thought that it was. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna quickly pop these parts out so that way we're ready to rebuild it, and then we'll do the giveaway in just a second here. Some of these square nuts are gonna be kind of a pain in the butt. Oh, magnet out, check. Ball out, check. Nut out. Ugh. Check. Blades next. I don't think it'll take us too far to get back to where we were. Okay. So on these square nuts that are in here, I'm actually gonna leave them for right now in hopes that maybe we just have enough square nuts that I don't have to tear apart this piece. At least not right now. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's leave this over here. Hey, LSC! Hey, 111 likes! You guys are overachievers. Let's do, we gotta do air horn, and then I am getting hungry, so we'll do I wonder what's for dinner. Thank you, everybody. That's awesome. Hey, Ken! Be good if they change the Excel as well. 937 recall, as in the switchwire revs. Oh! Yeah, Lisa. Yeah, it's my understanding that it was disconnects. So I would, depending on how far along you are, because it seems like timeline is a little ways out until they're going to be able to get this like fixed, and I would probably just build it with what you have, and wait for the replacement. That's what I think I would do. That way you can still use the printer, and hopefully you don't have one that gets a bunch of disconnects. I think that seems to be the primary issue I'm seeing is like, I think it's temp related causing disconnects. Okay, so we're gonna clear out this part really quick. I'm gonna remove the link in chat. If you are filling out the giveaway form, you've got another minute here. Yeah, I think it's a thermal issue where the MCU is disconnecting. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is. Do we have a? Oh, we have a blade. There we go. Just removing the little bit of brim that's on the inside here. All right. I'm actually wondering if I should just try to install. No, it's already wanting to split that part. It's already wanting to split this part. So we're gonna ream it. I'm gonna heat it really quickly because I see a little bit of the white stress. Yeah, we're gonna ream this part out. Okay, let's do this giveaway. Oh no! I dropped my big jug of water. Okay, let's do this. So yeah, camera is not on the screen. I don't want to accidentally show anybody's info. And I am going to grab about 82 entries today. Okay. Bam. Man, my concern with reaming it though is just if it's gonna make it where they sit in there too loosely. But it's either that or split the part again. So we ream and hope for the best. And if it does make it too loose, then I'll probably just have to I'll probably have to reprint it and get it all back to where we're at for next week's stream, which sucks. But let's. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's. There we go. How many people did I say? Yeah, 82. So everybody. All right, here we go. So, yeah, for anybody that hasn't been here before, I feel like I always see new names every single week. This is a giveaway that PolyMaker lets us do every Wednesday. If you're in the US or Canada, the winner will get a gift card anywhere else in the world, and you get to choose between a bunch of the different PLAs, ABSs, ASAs, or PETGs. The winner is typically contacted by me within 24 hours via email. It's almost always within 24 hours. I have dropped the ball. I have squirreled. I have thought about sending the winner their email, then gotten distracted, and then remembered 3 days later. That is not unheard of. Which, if that ends up being the case, you know, check your spam folder for the email first. But then feel free to either Discord DM me or you know, tell me next week or whatever. But I'm pretty good about it. I like to get it taken care of as close as I can after the stream is done. So. Yeah, massive thank you to PolyMaker for letting us do this. They've been a huge supporter of the channel. And if you are interested in trying out their filament, there's a link in the description, and it does also help out the channel and let them know that we're sending some people their way. And they're awesome. They make really great filament, and the company is just, they're good peeps. So, okay, let's do one question why. What's the funky AMS? Oh, Python enclosure? Wait for this weekend's video. But long story short, it lets you use a wider range of spools. You can use taller spools, wider spools, sample spools. It allows any slot to be used as an external spool, so you can use abrasives on any of the slots. You can run a secondary tube in there, so it acts as a spool holder. You don't have to use an external spool. And it also allows you to use poly dryers as active dryers if you want to have actively drying inside of there. So it's pretty cool. It's not for everybody, especially if you're using, you know, only compatible spools with the setup already, but it's a cool system. Okay, anyways, how many times are we shuffling today? I don't think there's, yeah, how many times are we shuffling today? There's also a remix of the Python AMS that has, yeah, this one has active drying. These slots right here actually pop off, and you can, there's a little clip that works okay, but I recommend adding BHB, and then the poly dryers can be here. There's two on the back as well. I will probably end up hooking up 1 or 2 poly dryers, and then I think I'll recut this panel. This was provided by Voxel PLA. They sponsored the build for this, which was super cool. But I will probably recut this panel myself and engrave either like a Modbot thing on it or Python, the Python logo on it. And then I really want to add some LEDs inside. Since it's all acrylic, I feel like it would look cool. Okay, we'll do 4s. There's 2 4s I see here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good luck, everybody, in 3, 2, 1, here we go. KCMO Buff, you are our winner. What did I just do? Here we go, sound effects, air horn, and cheers. Congratulations, you are our winner. So I will send you an email this afternoon, and then depending on where you're located, you'll either get a gift card or be able to choose from one of a ton of different awesome filaments. So congratulations. I don't know if you've won before. It's getting hard for me to remember who's all won. I was doing good for a while. I'm like, I know you've won before, but congratulations. And I will contact you, yeah, later on. So thank you everybody else for entering. And yeah, we'll do the same giveaway, same place, same time, roughly next week. Okay, let's do this. Let us do this. So this was, I think I said, is a 6mm. Most positive. Yeah, definitely 6mm. That actually reamed out a hell of a lot easier than I thought it was gonna. I am tempted. Let's see how difficult it is to get this in. It's causing stress marks. Dude, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna heat this thing up, and then I'm gonna press this in. It's just a really thin wall, and the stress lines are going like with the layer lines, or the stress direction is going with the layer lines. So So it's really easy for this part to split. Once it's in though, like that, we should be good. Okay. So we've got no stress marks or no stress lines. For anyone that doesn't know, I mean, I know a lot of people here print ABS or ASA, but ABS and ASA specifically, when a part is being stressed, like whether it's gonna split or it turns white. So you start to see like a white cloud basically form on it. And so hitting it with a heat gun will let you remove that. You'll also often see it even when you're printing with ABS on like a PEI flex plate. It will often sorry, why is this not centered? Often that textured pattern, I don't know, it was weird with my hand. Often that textured pattern will actually leave stress marks as well. So it depends like on how close your first layer is. Different sheets seem to do it more than others, but in those cases, if you're printing with like a dark ABS or ASA and you see sort of like white speckles on it, it's not a dirty build plate. It's usually not like paint coming off unless you have some kind of weird build plate. It's usually stress marks. And so it doesn't actually, in that case, doesn't have any effect on like the part's integrity. It's such a like surface thing. But if you hit it with a heat gun, it will remove that. So, hey, there he is, KCMO. Yeah, congratulations. I will send you an email this evening then. Should we remount both? It's probably not a bad idea. Why would we not? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ream this one out. I'm gonna get the second tube in, then we're gonna put it back on just to make sure that we're still sliding it nice and smooth like we were when we tried it a little bit ago. There we go. Okay. All right, fingers crossed, everyone. Fingers and toes and whatever else. Keep it all crossed. Let's see how this does. So orientation is like, what am I doing? Like this, right? Yeah. Rod goes in, rod goes through. Come on, baby, please, please. Please still be smooth. Holy crap, why is this bottom one? Oh, there we go. User error. Oh yeah, wait. Yeah. Felt a little bit of binding there for a second. Let me, I think it's because yeah, okay, I know what I'm doing wrong. It's because when I'm grabbing it, there's a little bit of play, like a teeny bit of play. And so when I'm grabbing it from up here, it's not applying force like parallel to the rails. It's kind of applying it at a downward angle. So if I go from right here, like where it's actually at, it's buttery smooth across the entire thing. So we're still good to go. Awesome sauce. Okay. So let's get this guy rebuilt really quickly. I'm gonna, so that way I don't get anyone motion sickness, I'm gonna change the camera while I lift up the tripod. I'm very happy we were able to get that main body to cooperate. I'm jazzed. Like, I'm super excited. I don't really care that much. Like, I mean, yeah, of course I wish the selector didn't crack, but I don't care that much comparatively. It's a small piece that, you know, I can get rebuilt pretty easily, but that big one is just, it's a fair bit of filament. It's not exactly the funnest part to print. It's probably I would say it's the more tricky part in this build just due to the size. Okay. Just got here. Has anything went boom yet? Not really. We had some issues, but we've reprinted this piece out and hopefully that'll be fine. And then we had an issue with a tiny bit of warping on this, like ever so slightly. We're using a heat gun and a little bit of magic. We were able to get it working and now motion is really smooth. So, and no booms, no booms today. Here we go. Selector assembly. Okay. Okay, magnet and ball. let's get back to where we were. This is a pretty, I think this was a pretty simple assembly, so I'm not gonna spend too much time going over it again since we already did it. Okay. Magnet and ball are in. Cool, cool. Now we need the nuts. So we are gonna position you like this. Yep. Let's get our long M3 screw. There we are. Is the MMU3 cheaper than the AMS? That's a good question. I'm gonna say I don't know. I want to say is the MMU3 $299? MMU3. Yeah, $299. AMS. I feel like AMS is cheaper. Oh, AMS is $349. So I guess it is, but that's the $299 is if you get it unassembled. If you get it assembled, the MMU3, then I think it's the same price. So definitely comparable. I like the MMU3. I mean, nope. I like the AMS unit a lot. I really do. Okay. That looks like we got it aligned. Then we've got square nut, and the square nut is going right here. We're gonna use our hammer for this. It's hammer time. Oh, dang it! I didn't get the MC hammer time sound. That was something I had talked about last week. MMU3 is rather expensive for what it is. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of hardware, like 3 motors, a lot of printed parts, and some electronics. But yeah, I honestly feel like they're both kind of pricey for what they are. But yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that assessment. Oh, it pretty much went exactly how we want it. That's probably fine. Okay, next up, push the rods through, which we already did. Wait. I didn't install this. We jumped the gun. So this needs to go like this. This needs to go like this. And this just gets tightened down. Damn it. It's not perfectly aligned.
For the Percussive Assembly Fund.
Percussive. Andrew, thank you very much for the $10, man. For the percussive. Is that over there? Yeah, Percussive Assembly Fund. Did you see the sort of Mickey Mouse-in that we had to do earlier to get this thing working? It wasn't the MMU3's fault. It was absolutely user error, but I'm curious if you saw it. I think that did it. It did. Well, sometimes you just gotta tap it in. Just a little tapping in. I've been in and out. How to pick up my mini-me from school, so I just got back. Yeah, basically, there's a little bit of warp in there's a little bit of warp in this main body, which I didn't realize at the time of, you know, printing, because it's very subtle. Like, you look at the part and you can't tell it's warped, but we ran into some issues with the selector. It needs to slide on, the bushings need to slide on these two little metal arms, and it was binding really badly. Like, I had a little bit of smooth movement in the center, but as we got to the sides, I mean, it was really rough. And so that's when we started to sort of eliminate what it could be, narrowed it down to the body because it worked fine with the included PTG body. And that's when someone mentioned warping, and I got down low and I could see, okay, there is, like, I mean, very subtle, but there is a bit of warping. I actually see it more. From this angle, but I do have, yeah, no, there's a little bit of warping on this part. And so it hasn't been an issue for any of this stuff, but I didn't want to reprint it, ideally. And so we basically hit the sides of the heat gun and then use the selector to align that bottom rod, because the top rod was fine since it's so far away from that little bit of warping down there. And so now we have really smooth motion, which is awesome. But I definitely had a moment of thinking that we were possibly going to have to reprint out that part, which I was not excited for. Okay, so next up, sorry, I'm trying to get caught up to where we were before the stuff went a little south. All right, square nuts. Why didn't you use the included PTG parts? Because I didn't want to. There's nothing wrong with using the PTG parts, especially in this case. I'm going to be reprinting all the Prusa Mark IV parts in bright green and pink, pop pink ASA, because that's the colors we voted on a couple weeks ago. And for those, they're going in the enclosure, so it makes a lot of sense. And I just was like, well, if we're doing this and if we're doing that in ABS, like, we should just do all the parts in ABS, like the enclosure and everything. And, oops. And so that's really the reason why. But because this will likely never live inside of the enclosure, it was definitely not necessary. So I don't have any good reason for you other than for fun. Like, that's why we decided to match color palettes. But yeah, that's really it. I don't have, there's no, that's all I got for you, man. Check live streams. Okay, I'll check a little later. I've got to get some progress on this. Okay, so with this piece, we want it to be flush, if I remember correctly, with this side. Yes. Where is, there we go. M310. We should be pretty back up to speed quickly. I think all that's really left is the blade attaching the sensor. That does not look right. Huh, that's weird. Did we bottom out? I don't understand. I don't understand. No, that's an M310. That's weird. Oh. The nut's definitely all the way in there. Okay, I got it. I think it was just not aligned properly with the square nut. Now we are good. It's nice and tight. All right. Okay, so yeah, next up is the the pinda. We need another square nut, or the findo, I think is what they call it. Let's do the same thing we've been doing because it seems to be working. Scrape the openings. Yeah, scaling might not have been necessary with this. I mean, the only part I think we really had an issue with was the selector, that little face right there. But this part's not scaled while everything else is scaled. And things seem to be fitting about as well as they did with my scaling, so let's see. Tap, tap, tap. Oh, come on. Oh. Dude, I remember this is the part that sucked last time. Let's see, I'm gonna try to just give it one good whack. Yeah, this is the screw, the nut that didn't fully seat. Okay, that's as good as I feel. Oh, dude, that's it. You just gotta give it the old whack. Zero rescaling on the reprinted. Yeah, zero rescaling. Zero rescaling. That was actually Steve. I think Steve printed these parts out and didn't use scaling, and it was fine. I don't think scaling is an issue. Like, I typically, if I'm going from a part that's designed in PLA or PTG to a part that's being printed in ABS or SA, 100.5 seems to be the scaling, at least in X and Y. But we had an issue with, when we had the issue with the binding, we weren't sure what the cause of issue was. And so because this had a crack in it and we thought this was probably the likely culprit, Stephen made the suggestion of just printing it in like just as is, just to see. And it didn't end up being that. We found that out maybe at 20-30%, but it was already so far, you know, we'd already spent 20-30 minutes on the part that I figured we would just let it continue. But yeah, it seems to be working fine. So I know we need, let's get this started actually. Okay, this slides in here. I don't think cable direction doesn't matter because it's, and there's a hole I should be looking at. I think it's the D here. Let's see. So push it in, adjust the position of the sensor so that it ends flush or slightly above the inner surface of the D-shaped opening. So flush or slightly above. Nope, that's not tight, is it? I think that's probably fine. Okay. Okay, that's that. I think the last thing is the blades, and then we're done. Okay, so yeah, last piece is the blade. And for anyone that's like hasn't been here for last week, sorry I'm rushing this. We did this whole thing like fairly step by step last week. I'm only going quickly because of that, and we're trying to get back up to where we were before the great crack. Have you ever tried pushing TPU through the PTFE tube of Voron? I want to play with material. I want to know all the potential problems there. So yeah, I've definitely used, not specifically on the Voron, but PTFE in general. Typically, up to like 90 A shore hardness, you should be fine with feeding it through the PTFE tube. Anything softer than that, and I would avoid it and just go directly in. The PTFE tube, once you get to a soft enough filament, it actually starts to grip it, and it makes it way harder to feed through. I was specifically playing around with some 60A stuff, which is like nuts. And it was, the Bowden tube was a no-go, like at all, any bit of PTFE tube. So if you're new to TPU printing, I highly recommend starting off with 95A. It's kind of like the most common shore hardness I feel like in 3D printing, and it's by far the easiest to work with. The main things are go slow, dry your filament. Yeah, go slow and dry your filament. Those are the main two things for 95A. Other than that, you should be fine. You'll probably also, sorry, gummy bears. You'll probably need to adjust your Z offset a little bit. I've noticed that with TPU, I don't print quite as close as I do with other filaments. I've seen that if it has a bit more of restriction from it pushing out onto that first layer, it can cause the gear to slip from a little bit of added pressure. And then once the gear slips on TPU, it becomes very easy for it to continue slipping and basically eat into the TPU and then tangle. So I would slightly bump your Z offset to make sure that the TPU has like adequate space to flow out of that nozzle. Maybe the cutter blades will fit better. Yeah. It's funny that you remember that. I was thinking the same thing in my head. Okay. Cutter blades go this way. Yeah, for anyone that wasn't here last week, the cutter blades were not aligned exactly right. Okay. This doesn't... I don't get it, man. The blade just doesn't even fit like into the like cutout that's on this part. At least not as well as I'd like it to. That's maybe fine, I don't know. Let's get the second one. It might be a little bit closer. Try not to cut myself. It might be a little bit closer. I still think it's slightly off, but we can get them tightened without. Don't move, don't move. Dude. Oh, yeah, that was fantastic. Lovely. Okay, I think I need to feed this screw in further so I can get it to more easily engage. All right, let's try that again. I also reduce tension on the eye. Oh, yeah, that's another good one. Yeah, reduce tension. Yeah, you do not need the teeth to be as tight. It will tear through. Yeah, that's actually a pretty like standard one. I'm not sure I didn't think of that. I kind of got a lot going on, but yeah, typically you back off on the tensioner a little bit. With rigid filaments, like the teeth just sort of bite into it nicely and create, you know, a slight groove in the filament. With TPU, that doesn't really happen. It tears. It tears much easier. So by loosening, sorry, I'm trying my best to multitask here. By loosening the tensioner, you'll hopefully prevent that. It's a little bit of a balancing act. Oh, dude. Oh. It's a little bit of a balancing act between having it tight enough to still be able to grip and feed that filament, and not grip it too much to where it is tearing the filaments. Okay, I think I got it. I think it is a little bit closer than it was before, so all in all, success. Okay, cool. Kind of cool. Yeah, I think that's fine. It looks wrong, but it's pretty sure it's right. Okay, so yeah, here's where we are with the blades. They are, I think they're closer. Oops. They're pretty dang close now. Like, I think they're better than they were before. So. Alrighty, that's done. Are we ready to, oh, we're back to where we were. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. So, where we left off was, did this, did that, did this, did that. Yeah, here we go. All right, so, blades towards the inside. And let's get our first rod. Shove that through here. Shove that into here. What is going on? Why is this? Something around. There we go. There we go. Wait, now something is rubbing. Is it supposed to engage with the printed part? Okay, let's get the second one in and see what's going on. Could just be because it's able to lean in. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I'm confused. Because it's tight now. What the hell? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, no, I think we're rubbing. Now we're rubbing on the printed part. That's why it's tight. That's so, is that normal? Is it supposed to engage with the printed part? Like I can feel the ridges of the printed part now. I can feel it kind of go over each slot. I wonder if that's normal. Insert the selector motor. Self-clearance, I don't think so. Steve says he doesn't think so. Because it's buttery smooth now. We found out it was a little bit of warping, Steve. I want to say it's rubbing. Dude, I don't know. It's either rubbing on the face of this, like this face, or on the top of it. I wish I could see like a scratch of sorts. Let me see if I see any like signs of wear on this part now that I've been doing that. No, I don't see anything obvious. That's as tight as I think I can probably get it. Oh, this is tightening at an angle too, which is kind of freaking weird, considering it's only got that center point. Could it be the blade? I can file this ever so slightly to see if that does it. Paint it with a marker to check where it's rubbing. I don't want to paint it. I'll get a little file. Gotta run, catch the rest of the VOD, have a good stream. Hey, thanks, Bearded Bucket. Have a great rest of your day. But yeah, Steve, we found out this body has a hair of warping. That's what was causing it. So we actually took a heat gun to the bottom rod and the part and slid it back and forth with the selector, and we checked it against the Prusa included PTG part. It's actually smoother than that now. So I do know it's got really nice motion. So I'm just gonna file the face of this back a bit to see if it's maybe rubbing against some of these layer lines. That'd be an issue for sure. The MMU3 guide does mention that printed parts need to be near perfect for good results. Well, I thought they were near perfect, Steve. Okay, I thought they were near perfect until we started swapping out parts and figuring out like, okay, with this body, it's working. That's when I was like, all right. And then if you get down at eye level with the table, you can see a bit of light coming through. But yeah, I didn't like, it wasn't obvious to me until we ran into this issue. It was not obvious to me. All right, let's try this again. No, it's definitely still rubbing. I'm curious if I think what I'd like to do is take off the blades. I kind of think it's the blade cap that's rubbing. I'm sorry, because I was really proud of my blade alignment this time. But if it's that, then I'm just trying to narrow it down to figure out what exactly is rubbing. So, blade cap's gone. Yeah, we have no more rubbing. Let me get the second one in just to verify. That at least helps. Although now, what the hell, man? It's tighter again. It's still that bottom piece. I might need to heat it one more time. I'm wondering though, once I have the motor in, if it's going to correct it. It's this bottom one here. Like this side's fine. Now like this half is fine. It's literally this bottom one. But once we tighten 3 screws here against that motor, it's gonna help pull this ever so slightly. Yeah, I can hit it one more time with the heat gun. I mean, this would be the time to do it before I shove the motor onto it. Oops. Because it feels much better over here on this side. But yeah, once we get over here, it's starting to get a little rough again. So I'll hit it one more time. It's buttery smooth. Okay. So it seems like the thing that's catching is the blade. Yeah, that's really smooth again. So let's get the blade back on, and I don't know, I'll get it back on and then I'll file it after the fact. It's possible that because these like the cavities that these sit into are smaller than the actual blades. Like, I don't understand that. It's possible that that's really what's causing the little bit of extra thickness. Where's the other blade? Anything catch on the blades? Yeah, something's... I don't know if it's catching on the blade. I think it's catching on the blade cap. Yeah, I don't think it's the blade itself. At least I wasn't able to determine that. Yeah, it looks like it's sitting about the same as it was before, so I have a feeling it's gonna catch. This left side, like if you look at it, watch. Look at the gap right here, right? Like, or the fit, I guess. And then look at the fit on this side. It's more snug. So I think it's like it's angling, and I don't know why. I don't think that's a printed part thing. But I think that's what's making it. I'm pretty sure it's this left side that's catching. So I could have a feeling it's going to catch. Are the blades in backwards? Are 3-part? They only go in one way. They shouldn't be backwards. I'm assuming that the... you can see that. Oh, come on. I'm assuming that's how they need to go, right? Like you can see the... They only go in one way. Like you can see sort of the tip of the blade. Where does the cut filament go after cutting, and how exactly does it work? I don't know the answer to that, you know. I don't see anywhere that it would go that's obvious, other than into this like open cavity down here. But I think it's not really supposed to cut filament unless something's going wrong. That's totally that's exactly what's happening. Wait. Yeah, it's the cap. It's gotta be that cap. I'm nearly positive it's that cap. I'm looking at it top down, and I feel like that's what's hitting. That's what's hitting, so I should be able to, if that's the case, basically just file away at this a little bit. It just drops. Okay, that's what I thought. It just, the points on mine essentially match. Okay, yeah. So it only cuts to the tip. Yeah, exactly. It tries to do a cold, like not a cold pull, but like a, like it tries to form the tip well enough that where it doesn't need to cut. It's my understanding that it only cuts if it detects that it hasn't been able to eject it properly after a few tries, which I wasn't aware of until doing this build, and someone mentioned it. I had no idea. I thought it cut just like the bamboo just further up, but it's not the case. So if things are dialed in and working well, that should mean that you're wasting quite a bit less filament, since you're not defaulting to just cutting. I don't know how much I need to remove. I don't want to move more than I need to. Let's try that. We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. Let me see how it feels with the bottom one in. Definitely getting there. I'm gonna file off just a hair more. But it's definitely making good progress. With MMU2, I always had to cut before unloading MMU3. It's not that way. Tips are much better. Nice. That's good to hear. I've heard mostly positive things about the MMU3, so I'm excited. Do I want to file any of this? It's really awkward to reach. There's a little bit of... Nah, I'm not gonna file that. Let's just stick with the cap. It's a part that doesn't really have as much effect. I mean, I could take out this whole probably side of it and it wouldn't really affect its function. Okay, let's clear the little edge of it. Okay, I'm calling that good. Couldn't even hit this side with just a hair of it. Why not? careful around the blades. Sorry, I just realized you can't actually see what I'm doing. Okay. I think I'm gonna hit it with one last thing of heat. It's still much better. Like it's a hell of a lot better. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna do one last pass of heat. I am. All right. 1, 2. And then hopefully once we get that motor installed right now, I think once we get the motor installed, it's gonna help hold this edge even flatter. Let's move on. Let's move on. There we go. Okay. Next up, insert the selector motor. Okay. Insert the selector motor so this trapezoidal shaft goes through the pulley. Make sure the selector motor cable is pointing upwards, which ours is. Rotate the threaded screw while pushing into to engage it in the trapezoid nut. Ensure the selector motor cable is... Wait, ensure the selector motor cable is upward. I thought we just did that. We just read that. Attach the selector motor to the pulley body with 2 M310 screws. Add the last M3 to the corner. Don't over tighten the screw in the corner, otherwise the motor might tilt the motor selector. Okay. So M310s. And it says to not over tighten. Oops. Okay, so it says basically that we can fully tighten down this one. And this one. It says to be careful not to over tighten this one. So now let's see, how does motion feel? Feels fine. That feels fine. Feels good to me. It feels smooth. I like it. Okay, I will do one last little turn for this guy, but I won't tighten it quite as hard as the other ones. Okay, what is next? Did that. Push the motor all the way in. Check there's clearance between the selector and the end of its travel on the left. Add the last M310 screws. Using the ball end, slightly loosen the 2 screws holding the trapezoidal nut in place. Okay. So we're going to, ours is already loose. I mean, our trapezoidal nut is already quite loose because it said not to tighten it earlier. Verify the selector can move when forced left and right. Oh. When forced, like, just do it hard. Yeah. Fully tighten the 2. Wait, move the selector all the way to the left. Okay. So all the way up against here. And now we are going to fully tighten those 2 screws. So this one's kind of difficult to reach. There we go. Okay. Hey, nice. Time for me to go. See you next week. Hey, thank you for hanging out, buddy. I hope you have a great week. Next week we're printing with this thing. Next week we're printing, man. Okay, idler body installation parts. So for this, we need hey, Dr. Galvino. Or no, Dr. Galvani. Yeah, we voted on parts. The green looks awesome. With like the black motor contrast, it looks sick. Okay, so we need M516 shaft times 2. I think I've got those right here. And then we need M310s, 2 of them. These are M310s. And then we need M330s, which are these. One, 2. We need springs. Spring 15.5. Yep, 2 of these. Two springs, and then lastly, 1 square nut. Is it possible to use MMU3 on a FISEC Mark III's clone? I don't know. I'm not sure. Did they clone the board as well, or is it running a different board? Because I would think it's gonna have to be able to communicate with the board on this. So unless it's like a 1-to-1 of the board with the firmware and everything, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Let's see. Attach the idler assembly on the pulley body as seen in this picture. So wait, that's it? It just sits kind of loosely? That doesn't seem right. Maybe it is. Oh. Now take a look from the opposite of the unit. Opposite of the unit. Okay, so flip it around like this. I haven't checked for the modern printers yet, but having quick releases on the back when the filament feeds from the buffer would be convenient. Quick releases. You mean like for push fittings, basically? Like the quick release for the push fitting? insert the shaft into the marked opening. So this is the marked opening. All the way in until it engages in the bearing and the pulley body. So we'll just keep pushing it, I guess. Okay. Insert the other one on the other side. Okay, so basically same thing. Oops. Let's smack our parts by going in here like so. And pushing like that. So now we've got a pivot point. Very nice. From what I heard, plastic clones can use the official, so I assume electronics are cloned too. Yeah, you might be able to then, if that's the case. I've never built one. I've looked at them a couple times over the years. I was like, at one point I was like, maybe, but it just never happened. All right, now it says fix the shaft in place by attaching a M310 screw into the opening above it. Fix it. Okay, so M310. Guess that's just to keep the shaft from being able to pop out. Let's see. I don't know. You can't really see that. It's a tough angle. There we go. Maybe. Nope. Awesome. Screw down. All right, I'm just gonna try to tighten this up. It's tricky to show it on camera, kind of the way it's angled there. Nope. Let's get it started. There we go. Hey, BBs. I don't want to over tighten this. Doesn't seem like there's really any need to over tighten it. How's your week going? That's why they give you extra screws. Yeah, I left a bunch of the square nuts inside of the selector, the one that we switched off from. If we get this thing all hooked up, I mean, we won't be printing today. It's been 3.5 hours and I gotta eat. But next week, if it just hooks up and we get it printing and everything moves and operates as is, I'll be super happy. Okay. That is in. Okay. Open up the idler body and insert the square nut in the marked opening on the inside of the pulley body. Oh, so we need to move. Well, now it's not moving on its own. If I go like this. All right. It feels like it kind of tightened up on me. Is it possible? I'm wondering if I tighten down that. I'm wondering if I tighten down the trapezoidal nut too much. Something tells me I might have. Did it say anything about how tight to tighten it when I did it? Don't over tighten the screw. Fully tighten the 2 screws that secure the trapezoidal nut. It just feels difficult to move now. think it's because of that nut. Who knows? I'm gonna leave it. We'll see. We'll leave it and see if it ends up having an issue moving. We'll know that something ain't right. Not too bad. How's yours going? Hey, pretty good. It's been I feel like it's been a busy week. But all good things really. I'm gonna try to install a ceiling fan into our bedroom today. It's got the pre-wire, so I really just need to like attach the fan attachment and then connect the the fan to the existing wire there. So, which I'm very excited about. I sleep really hot, and so the idea of having a fan is exciting. You may need to move the selector down. The idea of having a fan in the bedroom is something I'm very excited for. Man, this is a tricky nut pocket, man. Can't use my hammer here either. We use this file and just kind of press it against it like this. That worked. Yes, we did it. We did it. Victory. All right, attach the springs onto the M330 screws. We've got spring, M330, M330. Bam. Bam. And these go into here. Oops. Let's see. Close the idler on 330. Do not tie them too much. The top of the screw shouldn't be below the surface. Okay, I have it just above the surface, so I don't know if that's the right amount or not, but try to mirror them, I guess, as much as I can. Seems about right. Okay. Later on, we'll use these screws to set the idler tension. Gotcha. For the following steps, please prepare. What is all left? I'm curious to see here. We've got our electronic board. And we're connecting. So electronics. We're basically done, it looks like. I think we might call it here. It looks like really what's left is the electronics and then the wire cover, and then we're sort of like ready to go. Oops, wrong one. Open the lid first. You don't have the buddy board on yet. Yeah, I haven't done any electronics yet. Yeah, I'm thinking we might call it here. I'm getting really freaking hungry, and I'm very proud of the progress we made after it's all said and done. I am cautiously optimistic that this is going to go well next week. Yeah, I wonder, I feel like that motor helped with the warp in that corner a little bit. Once it's on, the screws don't come out anymore. Once it's on, the screws don't come out. Gotcha. you're saying you don't remove the lid. Like once it's assembled, you wouldn't open it again unless you're like troubleshooting, because it stays closed. Yeah, I'm hoping for the best. I think we're gonna call it. I am definitely ready for some food. It's almost 3 o'clock here and I've had a bowl of cereal. So it's been quite a journey today. It's been quite the journey. I definitely wasn't expecting that we were gonna run into issues with the base like we did. But we moved on, and I think my only concern right now really is to see how the motor, how easily or difficult it is for the motor. You can't see what I'm talking about. Is how difficult it is for the motor to drive this, because it was all smooth from this side over. This side was still a little bit rough, but I'm hoping that now it's going to be fine. It's difficult to gauge it with just my fingers, so we'll see. It's going to be like a hold your breath moment when we get it all plugged in, but it's looking really good. The bottoms didn't print really that nicely, which I showed before, but it has like, it kind of air prints, well, it doesn't air, yeah, it air prints this section, and the bridging just was not doing really good, so it looks kind of rough depending on the angle you look at it, I suppose. But once it's all on there, I think it's going to be sitting like this, so we won't really be looking at that all that much. But yeah, made some good progress today. So thank you everybody for hanging out and helping with ideas and feedback based on things I was running into. And yeah, next week the plan will be then to wrap this up. So basically electronics, some wiring, a little cable management, and then hopefully we're printing. I'm hoping we're printing by like, the 1.5-hour mark on next stream. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I'm being overly optimistic or not, but fingers crossed. And if for some reason worst comes to worst, it can't drive that selector, then I'll end up having to reprint out the body. I'm debating on throwing down some nanopolymer and just reprinting out the body just to have it, just in case. I might do that. Just to have. So, all right, everyone. Thank you again for hanging out, and all of our members, all of our new members, our gifted memberships, and the couple donations we had come in. I really appreciate it. Congratulations to our winner, and I will again contact you in the next few hours. I'm gonna run right after this and probably figure out food and grab the ceiling fans if they were delivered at Lowe's. And yeah, I'll catch you all next week. All right, cheers everyone. Bye.